Hey everybody, ReefGrrl here, and welcome to ReefGrrl Live. I'm so glad you could make it. The whole idea here is to have some fun, chat, ask a few questions, maybe show us what you're doing, and get to know each other a little bit better. So sit back, relax, grab a drink. The stream is about to begin. Hey everyone, welcome. Boy, the chat is already hopping. Sunday afternoon live stream, and hopefully we can get as many international time zones as possible. And that doesn't mean North Americans shouldn't join in, because please do. And yeah, this seems to be a good time for a lot of people, so I'm glad about that. It's kind of a dreary, rainy day here in South Central Ontario. We're about 30 minutes north of the lake, and the weather down there has been pretty wet lately. So I'll say hi to everyone in the chat. We already have someone in the waiting room, and actually maybe I'll bring him in so that he can say hi if he wants to. Okay. Hey, Cue Balls Reef.
Hey, Cindy.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good, good. Tank's looking nice.
Yeah, we've upgraded.
Oh, you'll have to tell us about that then. I'm going to say hi to the chat. Let's see here. Okay, Tony Close UK Reef. Tony, you must really have this set as an alarm because you're almost always first. Congratulations, that's awesome. Reef to Sea Forever, hello. What's up, Reef Addicts? Straight Reefers here. Chi-Town Reefer, hi guys. Braveheart Reefer 525. So this is good because it's not the middle of the night for you. Awesome, you're in Scotland. Filipino Reefer, hey Benny, I hope things are going well. Ryan Shackleton, hey Ryan. Lynn Reefnerd is here. Sheem Ka, hello. The Herm 14, hello. Good morning. Hello, Sunday live stream. I like it, DC. Nice to see you, DC. I know you're a busy guy. Dell's Reef is here. Hey, Dell. Terran's Little Ocean. Hi, Terran. And I think that's everybody who's here right now. We're already up to 18 watching. I'm starting to think this Sunday afternoon thing is maybe a good idea. If I wasn't here, I would be, well, today, I would probably be moving some stuff from the holding tank at my daughter's and visiting with my grandson. So I don't know. We'll have to sort of maybe do a bit of a poll and see whether people like this time, because it seems like lots of you are here, and it's awesome. So Cue Balls, you say you had an upgrade.
Yeah, we got myself a hold of some Kessel lights.
Ah, that explains the shimmer.
Yeah. So we've moved on from the black boxes to 4 of the Kessel A360 Tuna Blues.
Ooh.
And
Very
for $150 a piece, I couldn't say no.
Wow. So did you pick them up from another reefer, or?
Yeah, I had a guy about 2 hours for me. He was getting out of the hobby. He said that life was just getting too much, and he couldn't keep up with the reef anymore. So he was liquidating his entire reef.
Yeah. And don't you sometimes feel like it's one of the things where if you have to get out of the reef or out of the hobby, if you can find someone will really appreciate what you have, it just makes it a little bit easier.
True.
Wow. And what size is this tank again?
This is a 180.
180. Wow, that's decent. And you got how many of those? 4?
4. I'm hoping that that's going to be enough. It's kind of hard to judge these compared to the black boxes. What looked good to me with the black boxes, this just looks 200% better. So I've been doing a lot of par measurements and trying to tweak them to where they look visually appealing.
Right. Really nice. And That combination of blue and white, when I had my first LED panel light, it was a black box, a D-Sunny. The nice thing about those was that you could program the time, so you could ramp them up and down, and the channels were separate. And I feel like they were ahead of their time, because this is going back probably to 2014, 2013, 2014. And the thing I love the most about them is that it always looked beautiful on video, because for whatever reason, that blue and white combination, I suppose I could have oversaturated the blue or oversaturated the white, but I don't know, just for whatever reason, it always looked the way it looked when I saw it, instead of having to put filters on to get it the way it looks to the naked eye, you know?
Yeah, that's the hardest thing I'm finding with this light is, I kind of have it more on the whites for now.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to like that. But last night when I was playing with this, even when I turned it to more blues, I was still getting great R readings up near the top where I have some sticks.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
quite impressed with that.
Taryn's Little Ocean says, beautiful, Cue Balls Reef, nice yellow tang.
Thank you.
And is that a Flamingi you have in there?
No, it's a lavender tang.
A lavender tang. Those
Yeah.
are beautiful.
He's kind of a bully to all the little yellow fish, but him and the yellow tang, they're kind of like inseparable. They do everything. They graze together. They chase the other fish together. But he was the original tang. I wanted a flame fin, and I ordered a flame fin, and the online vendor, last second, called me and said, "Hey, we're out of flame fins. Can we send you a lavender?" And I didn't really know much about them, so I did some research and told them, "Yeah, sure." And I'm kind of glad I did, because he's just gorgeous.
Yeah, beautiful. And you know, lavenders aren't very common either.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you don't really see them that often. I've done a lot of looking into tangs because I find them really appealing, but when I'm putting together any kind of a stock list, it's always looking for things that aren't going to cause trouble. So that takes a lot of tangs right off the list right from the start.
Yeah.
Oh,
I did have a blue hippo tang in here. He's actually upstairs in my nano tank right now for the time being.
mm-hmm.
He wouldn't let him do anything. He kept him pinned in a corner, and I did a video on my YouTube channel about it. He actually chased him, and I'm convinced that he sliced him open with his tail fin.
Oh no.
The yellow tang wasn't in the tank at the time. He was in QT for some white spots. And yeah, now that the yellow tang's back in the tank, the lavender's really calmed down.
Mm-hmm. They do look like buddies.
Oh yeah, they just troll around.
Oh, some more people in the chat. Hey, Insane Reefer, nice to see you. Chase V, how's it going, Chase V? Hope you're doing well. Who else? Did I miss anybody? Oh, there's Kevin, K Reef Aquarium Hobby. And Ryan Shackleton, I did get your photos and I have uploaded them. So anytime you're ready, we can take a look at them. I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to try not to sneeze. Okay, there. Now I'll just have a runny nose. Yep, doing some Sunday maintenance, getting ready to move some coral to its place. It's funny how Sundays are relaxing, right? It's a different vibe.
Especially when it's rainy like this.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So Sheem Ka's asking about the Orphec LED bar. Love the Orphec LEDs. The two bars are going over the new tank, along with two cheapo AliExpress bars and two Atlantic V4 Gen 2s. I can show you where we've gotten so far with that. Let me just see. I know I put this picture in here. Oh, there it is. This is how far we've gotten so far because I've somehow managed to misplace some hanging kits. So I'm going to remove that. Just unhighlight the comment. So there's the fish room. You can see the sort of apron we've put around the outside, and the Atlantic is hanging in the middle there. That's the front one. There'll be a back one, and then there will be 2 bars at the front and back, and then another bar on the right-hand side once once I get some hanging kits. So that's where that is right now. And I do love the Orphex. Sorry.
I said that's progress.
It is. It just feels like baby steps all the time, but then when you add it all up, things are kind of starting to move faster. So that's good. Oh, there's Carlos 23. Hey, my favorite Carlos. All right. Sheem Ka's going to work. All right. Well, have a good work day then. If you're off, thanks for stopping by. We also have SPS Reefer in the waiting room. And any other news, cue balls, before I bring them in?
Well, one little thing. I know we talked about last month that I had ordered a weeping willow, and of course he's not going to play today because I'm sure the new lights and I did a water change yesterday, but I watched Bahama Llama's video on how to tell if you got a true weeping willow or not, and I, like him, I'm getting 4 out of the 5 criteria for this. So
yep.
Not sure if it's true weeping willow, but when he's fully extended, he's definitely got the 3 to 4 inch polyps.
Nice.
The only thing the only criteria is so far when the flow goes off, he doesn't truly droop over like the weeping willow that Jake Adams has. So
yeah, I have a feeling that's the one criteria that's missing in most of them. And who knows? Maybe it's something that'll develop over time.
Or maybe Jake just got really, really lucky with that picture.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Yeah, mine was on a website as a weeping willow, and I knew it wasn't. I could tell. The polyps were thick, but man, oh man, they're long. And that thing is beautiful when it's fully open. So I just call it the weepy toadstool. Oh, we lost SPS, but he's back. And we also have K-Reef. So that's cool. Well, maybe during the stream, he'll extend a little more. What time is it where you
are? 1 in the afternoon.
Right. So we got a little while. Hey, Pelfrey. All right. So let's bring in SPS Reefer. And you know what? I'm going to... Sorry for the screechy noise. I got the glasses. We're going to do the troll question. I have a good one. Well, I think it's a good one. So SPS Reefer, get ready. Hey there. How are you doing?
Very well,
Ryan.
Thank you.
Ryan, right?
Yeah, that's my name.
Ryan. So Ryan, we have a thing where new people who haven't been on before, I ask a troll question because I'm the troll guarding the bridge into the studio. And I got to put on my troll glasses. This is the most fun part for me of this whole troll thing. So the question is just to get to know you a little. It's not meant to be, hard or scary or, knowledge testing or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And so this question is, you're stranded on a desert island. You have plenty of food, luckily. There's nobody else around. And because you're a reef keeper, you've noticed that there's a shallow reef just offshore. And in the stash of stuff that's going to keep you alive, there's also scuba gear. So you're going to go out doing some scuba because, of course, you don't have to fight for survival. And then you discover there's only one type of coral out there and one kind of fish. So for you, what would you hope they would be?
That's a good question, that. Strawberry shortcake coral.
Yeah.
That's one of my favourite corals. Fish.
Yeah.
Probably a purple tang. That's my favourite.
Purple tang. Oh, nice. Yeah. Strawberry shortcake with purple tang. Good answer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Welcome.
Thank you.
So Ryan, you sent a bunch of pictures of your reef, and I've uploaded them all. So why don't I put them on the screen, And I don't know if I can arrange things so that maybe like this, so that we can see more of it. Oh, that might work because it'll come up in the middle. And maybe you can walk us through the stuff that you have. Oh,
Yeah,
hey,
sure.
Kevin. You know what? I'm going to bring K-Reef in so that if he
Cool.
wants to comment or add to the conversation, he can.
Mhm.
Hey, Kevin.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good,
How are
good.
you all doing?
Doing well. We're just welcoming Ryan into the live stream, SPS Reefer, and he sent me a whole bunch of pictures that I'm going to put up on the screen, and he's going to walk us through them. So let's get started. So first I'll show the full tank shot, Ryan. So if you can tell us maybe the size and all that kind of thing, that'd be great.
It's about 112 litre tank. It's actually bore fronted and it's like built in at the back. So it's like a sump at the back, if you like. So an all-in-one.
Yeah.
So it's not a big tank, but it's just big enough for me to
Mm-hmm.
house what I want to keep, which is SPS.
Yeah. So would it be like a meter wide, maybe?
It is
70
40
centimeters?
by 80 by 47.
Oh, okay.
It's an odd size to be fair because of the bore front.
Yep.
But yeah.
Nice. I have to say I like that aquascape.
It's a very minimal aquascape because I
Yep.
actually redid it, so I actually had quite a lot of rocks. But the way the acros were growing, they were growing into each other, so I actually redid it. And the
Right.
floor's a lot better round, so the colonies are actually getting a lot better floor,
Oh,
which
yeah.
in turn, the colonies are now growing, as you can see in the pictures.
Yep.
They're really starting to grow.
And here's kind of
That's a good picture.
a close. Wow. Beautiful colors in there. Look at the base on that pink one. Really nice.
We're
I
not
know there's a
sure,
close up.
if that's actually a red planet. I'm not sure because of the green base with like the pink. So I think it could be a red planet, but it's still got a bit of colouring up to do. It looks really nice now, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I don't.
it's
From what I've seen of Red Planet, I think they're now maybe it's just the ones I've seen because of flow, but they're more of a tabling type of acro. It'll be interesting as this does get bigger. That is really nice.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, it's a nice colony. It's a really nice colony.
Beautiful. What lights do you have over this?
Hydra 32 HD.
Yeah.
So it's
The
running
AI.
on more of like a blue schedule. In the evening time anyway, it's all blue. So like in the morning it has whites, greens and reds in there, but as the evening progresses it just goes all blue.
Oh,
So
right.
it shows the colours up really, really nicely.
Yeah, I bet. That's what I noticed about the AI Prime. It's just a 16 HD or a Prime HD, sorry, not a 16. The color combinations really look nice on the tank. I have it on Mollywood, and I always like getting video of Mollywood because of that. All right, what do we got next here? So this is another view of the aquascape.
Yeah. You see the Tang just in the corner there.
Yeah, I see the cool. What kind of Tang is it?
He's a mustard mimic Tang, so we had quite a lot of algae on the rocks, and he's just cleaned most of it up, so he's done a really good job.
Nice.
Grazes all day, every day.
Mm-hmm. And this is a top-down view.
Top-down view, yeah.
Nice.
So you can see when the colonies all grow out what it's going to look like in 6 months' time. It's going to look amazing.
So what's cool about this too is it's an all-in-one tank. So you don't have a sump underneath, right?
No, it's all built in the back.
Right, and so that affects what you can use for equipment like reactors, skimmer, and all that sort of thing, right?
We did run a reactor on it for maybe 5-6 months, but it was just draining the system of nutrients, so it was making it too clean. So the FPS really didn't like it. So I took that offline now. And I've managed to keep my nitrates at 5 and my phosphate about 0.06, which seems to be doing the trick.
That sounds good.
I
forgot to ask you, what part of the UK are you from?
Manchester.
Manchester.
Would be,
cool.
Would be.
The north.
I don't actually live in Manchester, but the north, yeah. the northwest. Yeah,
Nice.
there's a few reefers over here that you might have heard, like
Yep.
Aaron's Aquarium and Reef Community
Yeah.
Worldwide. So I know both of
Yep.
them.
Paul. Nice.
Paul, yeah, Paul Williams, yeah.
You guys have a great community over there. Here in Canada, we're
brilliant,
so
really.
widespread. We're just so far apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And okay, this is that acro in the middle. Wow, that's pretty.
It was sold to me as a raspberry shortcake, but when actually the white lights are on in the morning, you can see the pink and green. So I think it's a strawberry shortcake.
Oh,
It is a
okay.
shortcake. It's a beautiful colony. It really is. It's lovely. You know.
Very nice. Yeah, we get with these coral names, right?
Yeah, the jack-o'-lantern, one of my favourite leptos. I mean, that just glows under the leaves.
It sure does. Mine's a darker orange and really doesn't fluoresce. And I think that's maybe because it's more to the red tones. Wow,
Yeah.
that looks good. It's in a nice spot too. Lots of room to spread
It's
out.
loving it. Yeah, it's just underneath. It's just starting to base out onto the actual rock itself now. So it's coming on really nicely.
Very nice. And is this the one that you're thinking is a red planet from the side, kind of?
No, that's actually changed colour. Actually, it was like a dark purple, and then all of a sudden it's actually going pink, going really, really pink, with like bright green polyps on the end. So I don't know what that's gonna come in. It was just sold as an Indonesian color when I bought it, so
Right.
but it's colouring up much better in my tank than it did in the actual shop. Actually, like a blueberry colour to describe it, but it's going more pink. You know.
Nice. And that's the joy, of getting things and watching them sort of come into their own personality, if you will, in your tank based on your environment and your lighting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, I'll quite happily buy sorry, go on, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'll quite happily buy a coral that's like dull in colour and actually colour it up itself. I like to do things like that because it shows me that my tank's right, and we've done it with a few of the acros in the past, so I know the schedule, the environment will colour the acros up. So I take a chance on corals that people may not take a chance on.
Yeah. Do you take orange glasses with you to the fish store to look at the
definitely.
brown ones? Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
because that's when you can see that little hint of something that might be there.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
And here it is.
Yeah,
wow. Look at this thing.
It's absolutely stunning. It's probably my favourite. In fact, it is my favourite.
That is beautiful.
It's lovely. The base, everything. It'll only get better as well with time in the tank,
And what sort of color are the polyps when they come out?
They're like a luminous green to describe them. So it's
neat.
It's loving the flow. I mean, we do have very, very strong flow in the tank. I've noticed the flow in the tank, the SPS just are more happier. So I've got an MP10 on the tank, so that's on like a really strong higher pulse mode, so it's really shifting some water across the tank. But the SPS are just going crazy.
Nice. And you don't have any problems with your sand getting displaced because of that?
A little bit, but it's not something that bothers me, to be honest with you.
Just move it. Actually, it's probably good to keep the detritus off the sand.
It does. It keeps the sand very, very white, in fairness. It really does. There is a little bit of detritus build-up, which is fine. I can just go in and we do a water change every week on the tank, so I can just go in and vacuum a little bit of detritus. Don't do a massive water change, maybe 5-10% a week. I don't want to upset the tank itself because it doesn't need a big water change.
Right.
And it keeps the SPS happy.
Very nice. And so if you do a frequent water change like that, do you dose anything? Like, do you add alkalinity, all that sort of stuff?
I actually use a Continuum. I don't know if you've heard of Continuum.
Yeah, actually, that's a Brightwell product, I think.
Yeah, it's not. I haven't used it. It's the first time using it because I did used to use Red Sea on my old system.
Yeah.
So my local LFS actually said, just try, give this a try. So I thought, well, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
And it is superb. So it's grown the corals really well. It's kept everything stable. It's
nice.
Really, really good. So I dose alkalinity calcium. I don't dose magnesium that much because I don't have an issue with the levels dropping.
Yeah.
And then I also dose strontium and iodine maybe twice a week. And then Acro Power is a new product that I've been using, and since we've been using it again, colour growth been brilliant. So I've been really impressed with that. So, and it's hard to get hold of now over here. So I've just been this morning.
I first heard of it. Yeah, get it when you can. I first heard of it in Australia from Gallery Aquatica because it's one of the products that they use daily on their store tanks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. K Reef sent me a little chat message. He finally found his earplugs. Cool. All right, we'll move on to the next picture. I think you got a couple more here.
Oh, yeah, that was a problem.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, he's a stunner. It's one of the only LPS that I'll have like Euphilia wise.
Nice
anyway.
color.
I've always wanted an orange hammer, and I've had him now maybe 2-3 months. He soaked a little bit because I do run quite high alkalinity in tank, but now he's just come into his own and he's just loving life. It's quite a lowish area as well because we do have quite strong flow, so I didn't want to expose him to that.
No, and hammers aren't. Hammers aren't very big fans of super high flow.
No, but he's loving life. He has his own area there. There's nothing around him, so he can extend as much as he wants. But he started off a lot more now in the last sort of like month or so.
Yeah,
I was a little bit concerned at first, but
they do take a while to settle.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I'll just give him time, and he'll settle in.
And so, where do you keep your alk then?
I run it at 10.
At 10, you're pretty daring. Wow, I'd be afraid to because I wouldn't be that good at keeping track of it.
Yeah, there's a few reefers over here who run it at 10. Because they use the Coral Pro Salt from Red Sea, which has quite high elevated levels in it anyway. So that's why I run my alk at 10. The SBS at first when put in didn't really like it too much, but they've just settled in now, and you can see in the photos now they're really starting to take off.
Yeah, that's why you're getting the growth.
Oh yeah,
Whoa.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, it is a little bit daring, but
yeah, I'm a fraidy cat when it comes to that. I like to get the salt that I use mixes at around 6.5 to 7, and my preference has always been to dose up. Because I've had instances in the past where it's just gotten away on me, and of course it's so hard to get it down once it's too high. So I'm being cautious, I guess.
I mean, I test the tank every day, so I do the alkalinity every day before I go to work to make sure it's not
that's
far down.
That's
I also
a
have
smart
bad
idea.
experience.
Yeah.
With a high alk.
Yeah.
I like to keep it around 7.8 or 8.
Just to be safe.
Yeah.
And we have a lovely meteor shower encrusting on here.
Really growing, yeah. One of my favourite Cephastrias.
I really like them
in my area. They're really difficult to get hold of for whatever reason. In where I live, but my LS had a tiny little frag of it, and it's just grown like crazy. Colours of it are lovely. Really, really nice.
They really are. It's like it's that complementary thing, a bright blue and a bright orange. They make each other look brighter. So nice. Oh, that's really cool. That was a great tour. So what are your plans going forward? Are you looking for more corals? You're going to just
go with we're going to put a lot more high-end corals in the tank.
Stupid question.
A lot of more high-end SPS coming in the next month or so.
Okay. Yeah.
It's only been running 8-9 months, so it's coming into its own now. It's really starting to come into its own.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, SPS are my corals to go through.
Cool. So we've got Alex G in the waiting room, so maybe I'll bring him in, and then Ryan. I'm sure there are comments in the chat that I wasn't looking at while we were talking.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, maybe we'll go through and talk a little more about your tank.
Yeah. Fantastic.
There's Alex.
No.
Don't you ever get a
Hello.
different background, Alex? It's always this plastic.
Always the basement.
Sorry.
So
We want
There's
to
nothing
see
in the other part.
flowers.
let's see, what do we got here? There's Ryan thinking of getting Orfec bar. I'm a little behind here. Chase V, I said hi. There we go. Now I'm caught up. Pelfrey says, happy Sunday, everyone. And there's reefing with, this is earlier than I thought. Yeah, we're 1 o'clock, catches a lot of time zones. I was pretty careful. Was going to be noon, but honestly, that's a little too early for me because I only kind of wake up by 2 o'clock. So 1 o'clock it was. I do want to be kind of paying attention and able to use my brain while I'm doing this.
I was really surprised when I got the email. I think, oh, already live that early?
Yeah. 1 o'clock on this Sunday, though, right? So the fourth Sunday of every month, unless people would like to do Sunday all the time. Something to think about. If it really, really doesn't work, I mean, I could still throw the Saturdays in, but I don't know, maybe this is good. There's Lynn Reef Nerd. That was an intense question. I didn't realize it till I started thinking about it myself. Oh, Alex says he would choose groupers for fish. Oh.
They're tasty.
Wow.
They're tasty. But remember, you've got all the food you need, and fish are friends, not food. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Sorry, I missed that part of it. I just heard stranded on an island, there's only one kind of fish and one kind of coral.
Hey, Polyp pal. Lorena, hello from Italy. Cool. I think that's the first participant we've had from Italy. B Speeg, hey B, Detroit Hammer, hey there, smash the like. Yeah, if you guys could do that, that'd be cool. I'd appreciate that. ESL here, might need closed captioning. Yeah. Terran's lotion, Diacanthus. Wow, there's Diacanthus Reef. Managed to lurk for a bit, need to sleep, enjoy the stream. Thanks for hosting. I'll be sure to play catch up and watch the rest later. Awesome. Thanks for stopping by. And there's the Herm 14. Nice to see tanks from all around the globe. Yeah, we're doing well here. So who wants to go next? Kevin. Kevin, you were in next. So Ryan, there were no questions, but if any do come up in the chat, I'll be sure to relay them to you.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I look forward to seeing more of that. Do you have a YouTube channel?
No.
No? Okay. So I guess you'll
Instagram?
just have to come here and, show
Was on
us what you're
Instagram,
doing.
but not anymore.
You were, but you're not. Okay.
I was, yeah. I may go on
Cool.
it again, show off the
All
tanks
right.
a little bit. So.
Yeah, it's really cool to see tanks from, we get so North American centric, and we forget, as Kevin was talking about a little while ago, how methods can be really different in some other parts of the world, and especially in Europe. And Indonesia is the same. Australia, of course, with the natural seawater where it's available, like it's really interesting.
Yeah.
So Kevin, let's
Nice.
let's ask you what you've been up to. I see your tank in the background with that nice rippled surface.
Yeah.
That looks good. Let's bring you up. Let's see what we can do here to get it bigger. Yeah. So how are things going in this tank now?
Well, I when I have the time, I will add fish soon. So from the fish room, I have one tank that I need to empty, and then because my tanks, I have just 1, 2, 3 tanks left, but they are all in separate tanks. So I want to put them in together in this one, and so I need to wait until I can empty that other tank where the blue tank is in, and then I can catch them all. So then I have done some work in the sump. Wait, I need to put some light on in there. So I added some reactors with trying the live biofill from Aquaforest.
Oh, okay. And what is that? Is that a filtration medium, or is it like something that leaches, or?
No, it's just yeah, like substrate for bacteria.
Oh, so kind of like the CChem matrix or Cyperac,
Yeah.
something like that. Gotcha.
But the live biofilm, it is already live.
Okay.
So at Aquaforest in their factory, they have I've seen how they do it. So they have lots of water, and they seed it there, and then they fill it straight into the bags. I can show the bags.
Yep.
So, and it's moisturized when you open it, so it should still be alive and help.
Yep.
When so that's the bags.
Okay. So is there a big variety then of the bacteria, do you think? Like as far as diversity, like does it add diversity?
It should add different strains, yeah.
Nice.
And so I got it from them to try on my tank. So I measured the water before I placed the reactors. I hope my son is not too noisy.
He's playing.
No, he just came. Otherwise, I go into the fish room. It's easier. But so I measured the tank before I put the media in, and then I had around 50 nitrates.
Ooh.
Yeah, and 0.04 phosphates.
Yeah.
So now I will do this for a week. I go outside because
I know you don't want to tell them to stop playing or being happy, right? I understand.
So I will do this for a week and then test again without a water change and see or it has some influence on it, because of course there is no fish in there, or nothing yet that is that could influence it. So now I can test it if it really will change something. So this is the tank that I'm going to empty and get rid of. It was one of the temporary holding tanks, and that's the tank, where almost all my fish died.
Oh yeah.
After moving, and then now I have this T5 unit of it. I don't know if you have seen the video last update.
Not yet.
From what happened here. So I came home. When was it? Last Wednesday, I think. Yeah, from work. I entered the fish room here, and then I saw that this tank was dark. I think, what happened here? Why is it dark? So I had inside two sheets of glass, like top glass, where the lights were fixed on.
Yeah. So
it was specially made for that, for the lights to sit on. But it cracked in half, like someone cut it. It was a straight cut in half. It was very strange.
No.
So the LED lights and the T5 unit were floating in the tank. So so here is the simple T5 unit. That one I haven't been able to fix, but this one, let's see if I can reach it. Look at it.
Oh. Did you put it in rice to soak up the moisture? No.
No, I let it all dry, and then opened everything, cleaned it up, and it worked again.
Right.
So yeah, but the other one, I think the ballasts inside for the starters, for the light, that is smoked.
Yeah, that's the technical term, smoked or fried, right?
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, inside here is one 6-line RAS left, and the hippo Tang or blue Tang, you know.
Yep.
She's there. I don't know if you see her, but she always
Yep.
hides when and then in here, this one, the yellow Tang in here, is also going in the new tank.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what you guys think. This one in here.
Ooh, purple Tang.
Yeah, the purple Tang.
Yeah.
He's really healthy. I got him like 2 years ago. He was in a smaller tank. Yeah, this is a small tank also, but with someone I know, and he got really stressed there. Killed some fish at that point, but I think it was because he was really stressed. He was he had ick all over him.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, and I didn't know for sure that he would make it, but he did. But I don't know. It's a big tank inside the house. If I would place him together with the yellow Tang, and I don't know if it would be a risk.
I'm not a Tang expert by any means, but I have done a lot of reading about them. And what if you put the yellow and the hippo in together and then waited and put the purple in after? Isn't that what they say? The most aggressive fish last, maybe?
Yeah.
Because he does look bigger than them.
Yeah, the hippo is almost is around the same size.
Oh, maybe, is that right?
Yeah, maybe even a little bit bigger. Yeah, when I look at them like this. The yellow Tang, yeah, just a little bit smaller. Yeah. But I don't know. Someone is saying something in the chat about it.
Let me see. Oh, hey, Scott Morrison. No worries. JV Gwaltney. Hello.
No.
Yeah, I don't. Is it? Maybe it's delayed and I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, but people, other people that I talked with it about it, they said, put them all together.
At the same time.
At the same time. Because later on there are two more tanks that I want to get for that tank. The yellow-eyed coal Tang and the Tomini Tang. That's it. I will not put more tanks in there, I think. But yeah, I can get them when they are really small, and that probably will not be a problem to add them later on. But I'm scared
I don't know.
for
like I've heard
for the yellow Tang.
Well, with the two, if you put the yellow and the dory, the hippo together, they're different species, like different genus, right, or species. So they don't have the same face shape, and apparently that plays a part in aggression.
Yeah.
So they might leave each other alone, or if there's only the two of them, they might pick on each other for dominance. So it could go either. It's such a crapshoot. Alex, you've got a lot of experience with fish.
So a purple and a yellow together and a hippo Tang, it can work. A lot of times with those zebrasoma tanks, you got to get 3 or more to go together. The hippo Tang, they're probably going to ignore. Adding them all at the same time is probably the best shot. But just depends on the size of the tank. And, you know, some of them are just mean. And it could be very challenging with 2 zebrasomas. I mean, I've seen it work. It's not impossible, but it can be a challenge.
I've seen 5 or 6 together also, but in my last tank, I only had the yellow Tang there together with the hippo Tang and then a brown Tang and some others, and that was no problem.
Actually having higher numbers, like when you get into like 5 or 6, is easy. It's actually easier because the aggression tends to get spread out. If everybody is added, like when I added my tanks in, I put a purple in, He was in the tank for a while, and then I added a yellow, a sailfin, and a Tolmini Tang at the same time. Later, I added a hippo Tang and another yellow Tang to the tank that I inherited, and they left the hippo Tang alone, but that yellow Tang, they almost killed it within an hour.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of it's going to have to be is putting them in, observing, and generally, if it's not going to work, you're going to know pretty quickly because they won't. Once they start that aggression, like there should be some chasing, but if once you start to see fins getting torn, a physical wound from being stabbed but with a scrapple on the back of the tail, that's time for them to be separated.
Yeah, but that's it. Then you need to try and catch it out again, and that's going to be a
that's
big problem.
And in that case, have a tank divider or something ready to go to where you can, cut down the size of the tank pretty quickly with a piece of acrylic or egg crate and isolate them. And then you can.
I don't know if you saw the news. Escape in the new tank. It's a really in the middle, and it's a hole. Then I need to cut the divider in the shape of my escape and then place it over, maybe. But I think it's going to be not an option.
Yeah, even if you take like a front corner or a back corner, you don't have to go all the way across. You can make a triangle with it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, there must be room for that. Yeah, but I know that the purple Tang, in his tank, had been aggressive, but probably because he was so stressed out. Because before he had never had problems with that fish, and he had it for more than a year. So that's why I'm a little bit nervous. Should I do it, or should I just, because soon I'm starting this big tank in here for corals, and then that's a 1,000-liter tank. So I thought maybe then I just put him in there so he can keep the corals clean that I will have in there for growing out and stuff.
Yeah, I think, putting them all in at once is the best option. I think a Tolmini and a coal Tang, that one will also be a bit of a challenge just because they're both in the same genus.
Yeah, the same. Yeah.
And Tolmini Tangs they could be pretty mean. So,
the coal Tang is not so mean. In my last tank, it worked perfect, but they also had lots of room there. But
and I'd almost say you'd want to get a third one in that genus to do at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost cue balls. Ryan, there is a question from Tony Close in the UK. Are you planning at all to upgrade to a Sump to replace the all-in-one eventually?
In the future, yeah, not just now because the tank's going so well. But I will have to upgrade at some point. I will look to upgrade. I kind of like the water box Peninsula style tanks. That's sort of what I want to go for next.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
That's in the future.
Nice. Hey, Marcus's Reef. The Herm says you can put all together at the same time, must be in a new established tank. If you take them out and reintroduce them back in the same tank, they'll once again fight for the same territory. So yeah, pretty much what Alex says. Hey, Woody's Reef, Matt Greer, you guys are here. Nice. Well, good luck with that, Kevin. I mean, I can see the purple Tang in that nice. Oh, we just lost Alex. He probably tried to flip his camera around. Yeah, I could see the purple Tang in that 1,000-liter tank there. That's plenty big enough for him to have lots of space to be happy.
Yeah.
If that's an option for you.
Yeah, for me it's an option. Because in the new tank inside the house, I don't want too much or too many big fish.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
keep more like a smaller fish or smaller groups, the wrasses, and then oh my god, I forgot the name. You know, the nice
maybe Anthias or
Anthias, yes.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So many. I didn't realize how many varieties of Anthias there are.
Too
And
much. Too many.
it's yeah, and it's really, and because they all have slightly different requirements and they all look a little bit different, you can choose one that you like. I mean, that's what I'm noticing, that fits the circumstances you have a little easier than some other species. But if you choose the wrong one and you're unable to give it what it needs, that just, or if there's aggression, if you get a group of them, I really like the look of groups of the same fish, but of course, in most aquariums, it's unrealistic. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gone.
Oh, look, it's the Glitch, and another hello from the UK. Hey, Glitch, I hope you're doing well.
Good to see.
When
Good to see
I
the UK reefers.
yeah, when I first saw his comment, I thought he said, and another head from the UK. And then I noticed that we had just people's heads on the screen. So that would have been something the Glitch would say. So in my defense. Excuse me. Oh, we lost Kevin. Let's get him back in. There we go. Got you back.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what happened. But I saw a few times that the phone was crashing. So I think, uh-oh, I'm going soon.
Yeah, cue balls. If
Oh.
you cue balls, if you want to try and come back in, you have the link. We can see if you can get back in. I should mention I'm on Wi-Fi. The modem is like right behind me, and you're supposed to be plugged in with a hard connection when you're hosting the stream. But because the modem is so close, it's working pretty well. But if I do freeze or things look weird, just let me know in the chat, and hopefully it'll come through and I can fix it. So.
Oh, something else happened yesterday, Cindy.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Yeah. I had a live stream yesterday, and I officially opened our web shop.
Cool. Okay,
Yeah.
tell me the address. I will put it up on a banner so people can check it out.
It's www.KREEF with a K streak
The hyphen. Yep. KREEF.
.nl.
NL. All right.
I think the Chrome browser or something can probably translate the website, but
right. Okay.
It's
cool.
In the future I want to be able to translate the web shop to different kinds of languages, especially for Europe anyway.
Yeah.
So,
well, with Google Translate, as long as you can copy the text and plug it into Translate, I've done that a lot of times.
Me too. Me too.
Well, when I can't get stuff here, so shipping from the U.S. is stupid money, and the exchange is awful. Okay. So I tend to go to Europe because I can buy stuff on Amazon for half the price it costs by the time I land it in my house from the U.S.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Cool. All right. So everybody see that?
You know the address.
There you go. Check it out. He doesn't do international shipping over here yet, right, Kevin?
Yeah. For you, I do.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to look and see what I can find.
Yeah. I still need to add more stuff, and there will always, of course, be new stuff added. It's really much work.
Yep.
It's.
There we go. We'll get cue balls back in here. It is a lot. It's definitely a lot to have a website. And I used to have an Etsy shop because I do knitted things. And so I had all of these things that I made for craft shows and things like that. And I thought in the off season, I'll put them on Etsy. And even that, when the platform is already all set up and you really only have to upload pictures and text, it's a lot of work. So yeah. Oh, you look like you're frozen, Kevin. Oh no, you blinked.
Yeah, but I was you were a robot. You were a robot voice. When you added cue balls again, everything froze here, and you were had a robot voice. So I was just sitting still and waiting. So, and then everything came back.
Oh, good. That's good to know.
Need to be gentle.
I'm messing up the works.
I didn't stop like this or something, did I?
You sounded like a robot.
I bet that was charming.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt Greer has a question for you guys. Would probably be able to help with this more than me. Anyone have tips on encouraging growth on one side of acros? I have a couple 6 to 7 inch corals. Only one side has growth tips for months now. What do you guys think?
Question that.
Lights more. I don't know. Maybe try to put some more light on the other side. Shift the lights a little bit.
Yeah, or is something?
You know what I try to say? You understand?
Yeah. Add in some, because maybe they're shadowing depending on the type of lights that they're in. Or maybe something is stinging it on that side and discouraging growth, or even if a leather coral is nearby and the flow is bringing the allelopathic chemicals towards it. You just don't know.
Use a lot of carbon when you have also letters in there.
Yeah, definitely.
I always do that. A lot of carbon.
There's a point. Natural sunlight, if you can do it. If that helps, then the west side of my tank, my new tank, is right in front of the window, and the light comes in there in the end of the day. So we're gonna have natural sun.
It'd be interesting to see what lights he actually has.
Yeah, Matt.
What he's running at intensity wise, it might just not be enough.
Running 2 G5 Pros with Aquatic Life Hybrid. So you've got Radions plus T5s. Aquatic Life. Do they make LEDs, like an LED bar? So we got a bunch of suggestions. We've got lighting or flow.
That's a good.
Light and flow. Lynn Reef Nerd. I'm usually happy if mine just grows. Hashtag truth. I hear you there, Lynn.
Yeah.
Lynn says, I heard if you nip the tips, you can get branching. So yeah, I've heard that too.
That's true. Yeah.
Davis Jew says, change the flow. And Matt says he has a 60-gallon cube. Oh, hybrid T5. Sorry.
Yeah.
A 60 cube with 3 Nero 5s. The Nero 5 are the smallest, I guess. 60 cube. What would the dimensions of that be? 24 by 24 by like shallow? I don't know. Hybrid T5. Yeah.
Yeah, that must. Then I don't think that lighting is. That must be enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess
for light spread. So maybe, like they say, maybe if you change the flow a little bit. I had a problem with the simple Montiporas. they always grow with the flow. So and I wanted. Yeah, I wanted to let them grow in another direction, more to the back of the tank. So I changed the flow a little bit, and you really see the difference. And they really start to grow. They start to bend. Oh, we need to go that way now.
They do. Another way to do that is to put them right beside a Cyphastria, because they will grow up like this, parallel to each other in plates. That's what's happening right now with a Montipora Divine Mystic Sunset, the one with the red skin and blue polyps, and a meteor shower Cyphastria. They're doing that in my other tank. So I'm going to be fragging because, they're not touching each other. There's about 1/4 of an inch between them.
Okay. Yeah, but I was talking about the branching Montipora, not the plating.
Oh, right. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. It's no problem.
Matt says, thank you all. Marcus is wondering if the colony is near a wave pump. And hello, Doctor of Welsh Magic. Nice to see you.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. Thank you all. Cool. I think somebody back here I saw asking for a link. Throw it up there again if I missed it. Marcus's Reef.
Intern reefer, I think it was.
Oh, was it? Okay. Had
I
a
think
similar
so, yeah.
experience years
Yeah.
ago with the bird's nest, abnormal growth due to flow issues. Okay. There's a channel, and I can't remember what the original name was. I think it might be JP's Reefing, like J space P apostrophe S space Reefing. He had nanotanks, and he did a lot of really cool DIY things, like his own ATO reservoir made out of a water bottle and all kinds of stuff like that for nanotanks. And he had the most interesting Montipora capricornus I've ever seen in my life. It was a brilliant red color, and the pattern it grew in was almost like a lotus flower.
Wow.
And I asked him once about that, and he figured it was the flow coming from the back to the front and then down the glass and pushing upwards. And I should look for it and see if I can find a link to that video, the one particular one where we were discussing that, because it was fascinating, and it was big, this thing. I think he's upgraded to a larger tank by now. I haven't seen a video from him for a while, but JP's Reefing might not be a space. I don't know. He's in California, I think. Yeah. All right, let me see if I can send this out to Oscar. So, Alex, you want to go next?
Sure.
Do I have to?
Yeah. What have you been up to?
A lot.
A lot. Just like every week, right?
He
Well,
was cleaning his plastics.
I actually made a video and I put it out just before this stream started. So I got off my lazy butt and did a video, but the 700 is all put together with its canopy.
Wow.
Oh.
So I even put a light on it.
Yeah,
With the red light, it looks like a stage.
You know what I was going to say after the casket reef? Looks like the gates of hell.
I do enjoy playing Doom Eternal, so I think this does kind of have that vibe. But no, the 700's got the light rack on it. The canopy sections are up. At this point in time, that tank is basically just waiting now. I gotta clean the glass off. Basically, there's nothing else to do with the tank. The drains are working good, and it's a little quieter back here now because just extended the drain lines of the UV sterilizer and the 700 below the water line. So now they're not making like Niagara Falls sounds back here, which is kind of nice. So yeah, that plumbing's still all good here. I've started planning for the main display a little bit, and then we walk around here. I've got my dehumidifier in, so I built a fancy little rack to hold it up off the ground so I could duct it later, and got a drain line in there. And then I figured, why not put my little mini freezer over here too, to save some space. So that's here as well. And then eventually, because the 4-inch interconnect is going to span across here to somewhere over here, I'm going to have to make a little walking platform right here so I don't accidentally trip on that thing and have a problem. So
Yeah, you need a little catwalk of some kind.
yeah, so then I got my plumbing trussel all done. So this is going to have all the plumbing from, well, it's going to have drain lines from this tank, drain lines from the main display, a ventilation line or a suction line for air on the main display, return lines to the main display, and return lines to this. So
are they going to be different heights through those slots than I'm imagining?
So there'll be two 2-inch lines here, the 4-inch drain line, 4-inch ventilation line, and then likely at least one, if not two, 2-inch returns. I might plumb a second dry return for future expansion. So I'm deeply considering that. If I ever want to add another one, I could just plumb it in now and not have to worry about that. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun getting everything back there. I went to the store and picked up a little PVC.
Just a little. Oh, I think you're going to give Laminar Flow, Pete, a run for his money when it comes to PVC addiction.
Yeah, there's 160 feet of 2-inch sitting right here.
Oh my God.
I asked if I could get a bulk discount, and they're like, "No, you didn't buy enough."
Oh, really? What?
Yeah, sometimes they have the special, sometimes they don't. So they didn't have it this time, but I needed it, so that'll be going. Oh, the dehumidifier is just kicking on.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so far so good on that. I've got my cover for the 150. I just need to put on because just want to get the direct light out of my face. But this just needs to get a cover here, and then I'll probably make a couple side ones and likely a back one too. So this tank's all done. I did wipe it down and clean it a little bit, so it does look a little nicer. It's got to siphon out a little debris on the bottom. So,
wow, you're really making progress.
It's been busy. I'm very happy my dehumidifier's here. That thing just is unbelievable how quickly it'll pull moisture out of the air. So, my old dehumidifier, I've been I had an extension cord I used for my saw and any other bigger power tools that I need to operate. So what I would do is I would unplug the dehumidifier, plug in the saw, and one night I was doing a lot of work and had the dehumidifier just off, and it had been holding the room about 55%. And in the couple hours I was working, it jumped up to like 60-some%. So I was building the stand for the new dehumidifier, and when I kicked the new one on, I set it for 45%, and it'll automatically take it down 3% lower than your setting.
Right.
So in less than an hour, it took this whole fish room down from like 60-some% down to 42.
Oh my.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I'll see. I had just a clear vinyl tube on it that was on the floor before, and I was looking at it, and I was like, I wonder how quickly I'll see water flowing out, and I'll see if I can catch it here since it's running. But literally, like, I turned away for a few minutes, and then I looked at it again, and the whole vinyl tube that was like kind of where water would pool up was full, and I'm like, well, how did that happen?
Holy smokes.
So.
Wow. We have another answer here from Marcus's Reef on the Acropora question. Flow can aid in the shaping of corals, so can light scheduling. Lower light with longer photo periods have shown to grow montiporas with a more horizontal pattern, where higher light with shorter photo periods show to grow them with a more vertical growth pattern. That's really interesting. And hey, Oscar, I sent the link. Doctor of Welsh Magic. Between Alex and Jeff of Daily Reefing, I'm surprised there's any plumbing left in the US and Canada.
You know, the sad thing is that a couple times I've been to the hardware store, and like just to give everyone an idea of just how many fittings I bought. I have that bag of 2-inch, that bag of 2-inch. These huge bins I noticed the last couple of times because I've had to do some repeat purchases on stuff. They've been getting a little low a couple times.
Yeah.
And I did have something else arrive too.
Okay.
So these, let me step back here.
I know what those are, but you tell.
All right, hold on. Let me.
Okay. Oh, hey, K-Reef. Sorry about that. K-Reef says it crashed again. He's got to do some work. Thanks for coming by, Kevin. It's always good to talk to you. Hey, Hector, Calypso's Reefs. Nice to see you. Mark Leong. Wow, we're just getting everybody in here today. Cool. I know what this is.
So
Cool.
I got a call this week from a shipping company that's like, hey, by the way, we have a delivery for you. And I go, well, that's interesting because I'm not expecting any. And I'm like, could you say who it's from? And they tell me the company. And I go, well, I do have my water storage tanks in order with them, but they told me they don't have them. And they have to wait. So I asked if they knew what it was or had, other than where it was coming from and dimensions. I said, well, it sounds right. I was like, I guess we'll find out. So the truck showed up and I did get out and measure everything. But these are my water storage tanks. So they're 250 gallons each.
Oh, wow. How much do they weigh?
I think they say they weigh about 100 pounds. So
yeah,
they're pretty hefty, and they do have a hole through the center of them for structure.
Just in case you wanted to put it on a bracelet. I'm sorry.
more of an armband or.
Yeah. I'm guessing you haven't yet tried if your head will fit through there.
I don't want to risk having to call the fire department, and that. As funny as that sounds, I was like, I could just completely see that happening, and then,
and your ears are facing the wrong way for an easy escape. So,
yeah, I could already hear myself going, "Please don't cut this tank. It'll take me months to get new ones."
Turn me into a Van Gogh before you do that.
Yeah, so they're doorway tanks too, so they're only 29 inches wide. Which is why I bought them, because they fit down my staircase without a problem.
Yeah.
My wife assisted me, and there were a lot of, really? Does it have to be so big? Why? What's wrong with you? Why can't you be normal?
Yeah. Well, I have to say, my husband doesn't say that to me very often, but I do get a look from him when he's spent several days doing research into something because he has an idea. So he asks me about it, but he has to wait till a couple hours after breakfast, because honestly, if he comes at me with stuff while I'm eating, it makes me really cranky because I'm not awake yet. And so he gives me this look when I say, oh man, that's really cool. And what about this here? And the look is like, I should have asked you before I started planning all of this. Like when we installed I can show you guys a short video in a bit if you want. We had to put a UV sterilizer on downstairs. So when he first installed it, I showed him where I wanted it. And that included the height. But he put it below that because he didn't think I meant the height. So he had everything all ready to go. But the problem was he had it upside down in terms of the fittings, which might not matter. But we couldn't get the hoses redirected properly because there wasn't space, because it wasn't high enough. So the look that I got, I guess I could take the screws out. And I mean, and I always say, well, like, I can do it. So that makes him work even faster because he doesn't want me to touch his drill. So anyway.
See, something similar happened with these water storage tanks where my wife's like, do you really need, like she said something about, like, do you really need my help? And I was like, that's fine. I'll do it myself. Followed by, no.
That's your female side coming out, Alex.
I would have done it by myself.
I know.
It literally, I mean, this is how they came down, was standing up, but getting into the staircase wasn't bad, and it cleared perfectly. So this is literally the biggest water storage tank I could fit down my stairs.
Yeah.
So these will end up going back here through my obstacle course.
Hey, Marcus, he's about to head to Lowe's to buy concrete to go under the house to support the floor. I remember you were crawling into your crawl space a little while ago. Over 500 in floor bracing. Nothing in this hobby is cheap. No, not if you want to do it right.
Nope.
Cool. Good luck with that.
The 250s, both of them are going to go side by side behind that 400. So
Yeah.
The 400 will drain into them, and then
Right.
they'll drain back. So part of what I'm going to do today is get my 2-inch drain lines roughed in. So hopefully I don't have to make any more trips. I'm going to do, instead of bulkheads on these tanks, I'm going to do uniseals. So I got a couple I got to try out, and then if those are good, I'll buy some more. And
Yeah. So the 250s, they're additional water volume for your system, essentially?
So I'm going to do 2 things with them. One, they are extra water volume, so it'll give me some emergency water. If something happens, I could valve them off and pump it someplace if I need it.
Yep.
The other thing is they will also act as my water change station.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
when I want to do a water change, I can valve them off, pump the water out of them directly. I'll run an RO line to them, so I can fill them up directly with RO water. And then once that's done, I'm going to put a second radiant heating loop into one of these tanks.
Yeah.
And then I can mix it, heat it, and then just turn a couple of valves, put it in line, and it'll all be done.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So
Cool. I'm assuming that would be like a multi-day process to get that much water.
Yeah, because I'll probably swap out the membranes before I go into full operation, and I'll get up to like 300 gallons per day.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah,
I figure, I'm not. That's the nice thing about this is I don't have to be in a hurry.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
The tanks did have one thing missing on them, although I'm not really broken up about it because they probably would have been a point of failure anyways. They didn't have bulkheads on these tanks pre-done. But considering they're 42 inches tall and they each have 250 gallons of water, I'm not really that worried about that because all the uniseals and stuff I'm going to do and interconnects between the tanks, I'm going to do that higher up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So if it fails, it can only dump out so much of this. So that's one thing. It wasn't the way it was supposed to be, but I'll live with it.
Yeah. Doctor of Welsh Magic, did you connect the UV direct to your turn pump? No, we did the same setup as in the Red Sea, where the feed pump is in the shallow 50, which is essentially the refugium, and the exit goes into the same vessel, but further back. So it doesn't pick up, so the pump doesn't just pick up the same water over and over again. I couldn't reduce my tank to run. Couldn't reduce my tank. Not sure what that means. Oh, Hector's here and Oscar's here. So I'm going to bring you guys in. And we don't have to do troll questions because you've been here before. So there's Insane Reefer. Hey, Oscar. And there's Hector. Hey, Hector. Cool. I'm just going to finish reading the chat. Oh, to turn over 1,000 liters per hour. Yeah, this might be a good time to show you guys the brief video that I made about that. I did a kind of a sump update video. Is it this one? And it'll kind of explain what we did there. Oh yeah, I know what I have to do. I have to share it. Share video and sump update. Okay, here we go. Okay, quick tour of the sump as it's running March the 28th, 2021. Up here is the temporary refugium. I've got Cato growing in there using a par 38 bulb I got on eBay. It's all working well. Trash can overflow, doing its job. Comes down to the 150. I do have cloudy water. It's way better today than it has been all week. And the corals are doing okay. There's a couple that I'm concerned are not going to make it. And we'll just have to see about that. The water change 100 is right here. And the lid on is really helping with humidity down here. Also have a lid on the quote-unquote return. The pump comes out of there, the radiant heating, everything is coming in and out of that end. Here's my water level checker. I'll show you that in a future video. This is a little slot cut out for the ATO sensors. There is the ATO return hoses there. And what we did about cloudy water was we installed the UV sterilizer that used to be on the Red Sea tank, and it has made a difference, even though it's hugely undersized for this system. There's 265 gallons in here, and it was rated for maximum 100 when I had it on the other tank. So it's going to be a clarifier only until I get a proper sized UV for the entire system. But for now, I want to get rid of that cloudy water before I move anything else into here, just to make sure that's what it is. It's just a bacterial bloom. That's what I suspect. Radiant heating has been working flawlessly. So really, really happy with that. And the ATO indicator, we changed the actual weight. I'll have that in a video coming up with all of the explanation about what that was and why we did it. So far so good. I mean, I really didn't know what to expect. A couple things surprised me, but you know, overall, I guess you just take it one step at a time and see what happens. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't realize it was that big of a... How do I get this away from here? I can't get rid of it. Press escape. No, that's not it. All right, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot it was kind of an update video, but Doctor of Welsh Magic, that's what the setup is right now until I can get something that's going to be enough to do the whole system. And when that happens, that will be plumbed into the return lines. Although I don't know how we're going to do it because I have 2 return pumps. Maybe it'll just go into one. That is yet to be determined. Okay.
I feel like we just got a sneak peek at a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, right. So who do we have? We've got Hector, Oscar, Cue Balls, Alex, SPS, Reefer, Ryan, and me. So Hector and Oscar, you both said you have something to show real quick. Who wants to go first?
Whoever. Could be Hector, could be me, doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, Oscar, why don't you go first? Hector's got himself on mute, so he's probably doing something. What's new with you?
I bought a couple of things. Bought a couple of torches here last week.
Very nice.
I'm at Top Shelf Aquatics. So I got those 2 torches in the back. And the 1 torch in the front, I brought it from upstairs because I'm planning on bringing that one down.
Very nice.
It has exploded in Atasia, so I got some bird. I got some nudibranchs to see if they take care of them. If not, I'm gonna break it down.
Oh,
and just
no.
a couple of egg cans, yeah.
You know, honestly, I had good luck with peppermint shrimp. I don't know if you have anything in here that might eat them, but...
Yeah, upstairs I don't have very much anymore. I'm kind of bringing everything from upstairs down here very carefully. I'm inspecting everything, cleaning everything, and kind of stationing it somewhere to where I don't bring any Atasia from upstairs down here.
Right.
Nothing much. I'm just showing you some of the Fabias that I bought. This one was at Worldwide.
I'm a big fan of Favias, and those torches look like a good size.
Yeah, pretty good size. This one has 2 heads, and the one beside it has 1 head, but it seems to be bigger than the one with 2 heads.
Cool.
Yeah, and these are going right here in this corner. So that's what I'm working on this afternoon. I'm kind of moving everything. Got a couple of acros. Got I believe it's a cherry bomb from TJK or something like that. Might be. Or TJC, something like that. Cherry bomb.
Oh, yeah. And look at those pink polyps. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They have a fiery and they're very hairy. And that one is a Spiral of the Dragon from TSA.
Nice.
Yeah, I got me a Roger Rampage.
Ah, that's on my list. I want to get one of those. I got the lemon spice and I love
Yeah.
it. And but the lemon spice is a Favia. Is the Roger Rampage is a chalice, right?
Yeah, it's a chalice. That's a Jason Fox Roger Rampage. And then this
Nice.
is a Dragon Soul Favia right here in the corner.
Yep. Yep.
That one, I forgot the name of it. I kind of have it in the tip of my tongue, but that's also another Favia that I got.
Ah, that's a cool color for a Favia.
Yeah. And then
Nice.
that's it. That's another Favia. I just don't know the name of it. I forgot. And then let me show you here my Zoa Garden's coming up real
Oh,
nice.
really pretty.
Got
Oh,
a couple
hey,
of magicians there, some gobstoppers,
cool. We just had
some
Peter
Sunny
M
D's
from
in the back.
Peter M just made it from Croatia. Hey, Peter M. Yeah, Matt Greer. I want one of those. That looks really nice, Oscar. Really nice.
Yeah, and these are the ones I bought over the weekend. I got some rainbow hornets. I got some blue hornets in the back over there. And I got, I believe these are called, I'm not sure, but I think they're called sour apple.
Oh my
Zoas.
God. I'd love to have a Zoa with a name that says, I'm not sure. Just the way you said that, I thought, I'm not sure would be an awesome name for a coral. Sorry.
And little Gani there.
Oh, that's pretty.
That one's growing pretty nice and expanding. And just a couple, just a view here of all the Yakros I have here on the top. They're growing only,
Yeah.
very awesome.
This tank has come such a long way, man. I remember when, like we were talking about before, talking for an hour and a half about an empty tank with just some rocks in it.
Yeah, I remember. And that's a PC rainbow right there. That one of my fish fragged it because I found a frag on the sand bed. So they're starting to frag acros here themselves. That's a tricolor Bolita. And right next to it is the Walt Disney next to it. That one's growing real slow. And my Optimus Prime right there in the corner.
Lots of room for that
They
one.
have real nice colors on them.
What lights are you using? You're getting a lot of color.
Yeah, I'm using Radion's G4 Pros, and I'm using two 60-inch Reef Bright strips, XHOs. So let me raise it up here.
The XHO's got a really nice pop on them. Oh, it looks really good.
Yeah. And they're high right now because I'm working on Tang. They're usually way lower than that. So they get even more light. And one other thing I bought, because I went on vacation last week, I got me one of these Avast feeders that are awesome.
Ah, yep.
So that works
cool.
out pretty good. And
So
last thing, go ahead, Sydney. I'm sorry.
I was just wondering if you run without lids all the time, like without mesh over top?
No, my lids are there. I'm just working on the tank, so I took them off.
Oh,
But
gotcha.
I usually have my lids on. Yeah, they're right on the floor.
Yeah.
I got them all there. And got me a clear water algae scrubber, which has been working out pretty good for me.
Nice.
Yeah, that's nice. And you can't see it, but I got me a skimmer. I think it's that sensor that shuts it off whenever it comes to a certain point. So I won't have any accidents. That's about it. Just mostly corals and all that is what I have. And getting ready for May, I'm going to wrap in Orlando. So that's
you are.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be down there.
Cool. Yeah, man, you've been busy.
But that's about it.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to take much of your time. I know I want to give a chance to people that are from the other side or somewhere around the world, to show their tanks and all that. Just wanted to give you a quick update. It's been a while
Sure.
since I've been in here, so
Yep.
I'm gonna let you do your thing. If you have any other questions, you could ask me, and I'm gonna head out here.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming by, Oscar. It's really good to see this.
All right. Well, thank you very much for letting me in.
Yep. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. Well, that was good to see. And so, Hector, where's Hector? Did I kick somebody out? Oh no, never mind. I'm sorry. I'm confused with the whole share a video thing. It's throwing me right off with what little screens I've got down here. We lost Hector. Maybe he'll come back. While we're waiting for that, there's a comment from JV Gwaltney. He sent me a photo of his ice cap magnetic dosing tube holder. And I have two of those things. So I asked him if it was okay if I shared it. So I uploaded a couple photos. And this is what he sent me, that he discovered that, or he noticed that he was losing some corals, I believe a torch and a Duncan maybe. And there's a hammer that's looking like it's declining. And maybe it was Alex G that I lost. We'll bring Alex back in. And here's the picture that he sent. This is you can see that whatever was inside here, it was leaking, and that stuff was actually falling into his tank.
Oh dear.
So it looks like the two tube holder, and I have two of these things, but I have the 4 tube. There's one that's got my dosing at the back of the shallow 50. And here's the other one, which you might have noticed in the video, that holds the tubes from the ATO to put the water back in. I have two because I have two ATOs, and it's a long story, but no, the Tom Aqua lifters have not yet timed out before filling, so that was good. So I guess this is just kind of maybe a heads up to everybody to check out your, if you have one of these, and just make sure that it's intact and not leaching. I suspect the way they're made is that the square part has the magnet that goes on the outside of the glass, in my case, the tank. And I don't know whether this chunk of whatever that is, I don't know if that's actually a magnet or if it's maybe something magnetic, some type of magnetic metal that's in there. I don't know whether they're a type of thing that has two magnets or just one magnet and something magnetic. So good tip. Thanks, JV, for sharing that, because when it comes to magnets in the tank, it's so quick and easy to have bad stuff happen. All right. Okay. So where were we? I think Alex was just finishing off talking about his 250-gallon extravaganza tanks. So what else did you get done, Alex? Anything else with glass or?
With that, let's see. I get out of there for a minute and I get something else done. I got the first cover of my 150 done. So, yay! One more thing that's out of the way.
Do you have a list, or is this just kind of a mental list, or like how do you
list.
How are you project managing this whole thing? I guess
A lot of it has to do with what needs. So, I looked at what do I have to do in order to get that temp tank torn down successfully and get it into a place where it's going to be okay.
that makes sense. Yep.
The fun stuff is easy to do. It's the jobs you don't want to do. And a lot of those I tend to prioritize. Like, I will purposefully not do some things and do the hard jobs so that I don't neglect them. Like plastifying the ceiling. I didn't like that job. It's not fun.
Well, it's like rewarding yourself. You do the hard job first, and then you can reward yourself by doing the easy job. I need to learn how to do that.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I spent the day running a new electrical circuit for the dehumidifier and the little mini freezer. so that I didn't have to keep sacrificing my extension cord to run one or the other. You know, run the dehumidifier or the saw.
Yeah.
You know, but making up the stand for the dehumidifier, it was like, I don't really want to do that right now, but I had a need for it. So it's just, sometimes you got to step away from stuff that you want to do. I mean, good case in point, you know, I love to fill the 400 right now. It's just, that's why I put a date sticker on it, so I can't cheat on myself and say, oh, come on, Alex, it's almost been 2 weeks. You could go ahead and do it.
Yeah, when was that? I don't really remember. Yeah, exactly. No
So,
kidding.
you know, or like little things, like there was one little piece of plastic that had started coming down, so I reinforced that, retaped it. The little things like that, it's just doing them over. The light rack for the 700 was kind of, you know, it was, you know, cutting up the 80/20 and stuff and trying to get that reset up on there. Wasn't too bad of a job, but it's just a lot of little things. The hose barb I had on here was an old one and it wasn't the right size, so every time I ran the fill, I'd have water dripping into a bucket here, so I got rid of that, got proper hose barbs, and I got a newer, nicer vinyl tubing that's like a heavy duty stuff they had at the store. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's a lot of it has just been, what do I have to get done, and then how will the job I'm working on now affect other parts of the build? Because I could, you know, like building the 700 before I filled the 265, I really wanted to fill test this and have water running. I had to hit the pause button though and say, no, you're going to be sawing and cutting and making a huge mess here.
Yeah.
Wait. So, you know, that was the reward of getting the glass installed in the 700, was filling up this tank. And, you know, when I was plumbing the 700 up and doing the drain lines on that, I was like, you know, I should replumb my skimmer right now and start plumbing in for the main display. And then I kind of hit stop on that because, again, it was another one of those things of, I don't need that yet.
Yeah.
Wait till I get the glass installed in that tank, and now we'll worry about that plumbing. So it's...
Yeah, I find myself, if I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do something, what the plan is, then I tend to put it off and put it off and put it off. And even if that's something really, really minor. And so I end up doing a lot of stuff that doesn't really have to be done. And then all of a sudden it's like, damn, I should have done that a week ago, because then by now I could have been doing X, right? Yeah, I'm so of the moment, and I'm such a procrastinator until I'm sure what I want to do. And then I just go for it. And if something goes wrong, something goes wrong. But I have to train myself to do more of that, to just to get over this whole worry and fear and concern. And because most of the time it's unwarranted, because by this point in the hobby, I've got enough experience to know the kinds of things to plan for, so that if all of those things are planned for, there's room for panic. You know, if something comes along that was unexpected, right? Oh, hey, Super Yellow Tang, nice to see you. And Chimp the Reefer, sorry.
Letting, you know, that's one good thing I have, is that when I hit a roadblock and I'm like, I'm not sure how I want to do this yet, I can go, I don't know what to do with that, but I can go and do this, this, and this. And, you know, like I forgot what I was doing the other night. I looked at the 150. I was like, I got to scrub that out. It looks awful. So I started doing that instead of something else. And as I continue to progress, though, I start going, going to start running out of big jobs to do.
Well, in some of them, though, there are things you can do, and you can think about other things at the same time. You know, like cleaning out a tank. As you're cleaning out a tank, you can go over in your head certain things and plan for them. You know, whereas other jobs, you have to have complete focus. So, well, if you're me, they require being done after 2 o'clock in the afternoon when my brain's actually working. Because if I try anything early in the day, then that's when I'm most likely to have a problem because I'm just not ready yet. I'm not awake yet. I'm not thinking straight yet. It sounds awful, doesn't it? But I am a real night person. I do my best work after 8 o'clock at night. Truthfully, yeah.
Well, yesterday was fun because I got up early. I had all the supplies for my electrical circuit. So I basically, from about 7 a.m., maybe 7:30 in the morning, was working on that, getting all that done. Then I did a couple other little things that came about here, and then it was all right. Let's get a list together and go to the hardware store. And I figured out how much plumbing I needed, the parts I needed, trying to kind of envision everything in my head where it's going to be, and then I was like, well, before you go to the store, get your plumbing trestles done. So I did that. And then it was, well, it's time for lunch, have a bite, go to the hardware store.
Yeah. In my case, I'd have to insert nap in there somewhere, even if it's only 15 minutes.
Yeah, I laugh because I'm sure there's people at the hardware store that, in the parking lot especially, when they're like, what's that guy doing with all that PVC and why is he putting it into a car? He doesn't have a work truck.
Well, my husband was at Rona the other day. What the heck was he getting? I don't know, something he needed for something he was doing, not tank related. And they actually asked him when he checked out if he wanted to set up an account, because we have spent so much money at that store in the last couple of months. So like we looked at it and there's no advantage for us other than you don't have to pay for it right away. Well, we pay for it right away. We get points on our Visa. We get air miles. If you get an account, you don't get that. So we don't need to delay paying for it. It's not that we only want one invoice at the end of the month. We'll just pay as we go. But I just thought it was hilarious that, he came home and went, well, I guess we're spending a lot of money because they offered to set us up an account.
Yeah, I always laugh because they tell me the same thing at Home Depot as part of their little spiel. And it's like, you could save $25 today. And I'm like, well, you always tend to ask me this when I have a small amount of stuff. Not when I buy 160 feet of 2-inch PVC. I didn't get the, do you want to set up an account?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Hector, how are you doing?
Hello, Alex. How's buddy?
And
Hey, Hector.
we have Salty Reef in the chat. Hello. And Scott Morrison has a question about a Duncan. Duncan has been in the tank for over 2 years. For the past year, the heads don't really open. No flowy movement. Any idea why it looks like it's still Any idea why? It looks like it's still growing. It had 15 heads, now 25. My first thing would be check your magnesium. They're quite sensitive to magnesium, and mine is happiest when it's around 1400. And as soon as it starts looking not so happy, I check, and sure enough. And that's the only thing I've ever run into. What about you guys?
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Hector, you said you have something that you've been doing. I like the new open aquascape you got going on there.
It looks better. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I want for you guys. Look, moving this around, getting ready to add the last bag of sand. I was just giving stuff time to stress a little.
Yep.
But no, about that bag. It's still too shallow. So, yeah. That's all.
Nice.
How it looks.
Yeah. And are you going to have wrasses? Is that why you wanted to add sand?
No. More for the look, the natural look. I felt bad for my rat. It's been trying to bury himself in the bass for the past months. The yellow one. So now he's happy.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
The Herm is asking if any fish or cleanup crew are nipping at the Duncans. They're sensitive to touch. That's true, but and you know what? That reminds me of something. When I first set up the Red Sea tank, my Duncan went into there and it was very unhappy. So I was looking at it at night and it had flatworms on it. And as soon as I treated for flatworms, everything opened up. So I don't know whether maybe, Scott, there's a pest of some type. If you look at it after lights out, you might spot them when they're out feeding or whatever, but the flatworms were really irritating it to where it hardly opened up at all.
Yeah, definitely check at night. Magnesium too. Magnesium. Mine's one is closed is magnesium. Definitely magnesium.
Yeah. Yep. So what are you going to do next here, Hector? You're going to add the other bag of sand, and are you planning on more fish or coral, or are you just going to grow it out? What do you think?
Yeah, removing some fish out of here. The densels are growing at it. They haven't stopped. So sadly, I'm gonna move them out. Yeah, I'm trying to go with a school of fish, not so big fish.
Yeah, you're kind of cutting out a little bit. What fish do you have to take out?
Mostly everybody.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, mostly everybody gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm only gonna keep for now the beneficial ones.
Yep.
Which are the wrasse that are keeping, I guess, any pets away from the corals and from the fish. It's too aggressive. It can live with some other species of gobies or peaceful fish. Gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the wrasse, you mean your cleaner wrasse, the little blue and white one?
Yeah, that one gotta go. I'm gonna stay with the cleaner gold.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, with the cleaner gold. The big bass. I mean, he's gonna need a big tank in the future, so it's the best. And so, yeah.
Nice.
Trying to change a little. Take a look. This is the look I'm always looking for in the beginning. Ever since I thought of building this tank, so.
Yep.
I feel like I'm getting somewhere now.
Yeah, it evolves all the time, doesn't it?
Yes. Now the it's on work because the rock that I have here over here, so it's a mess in the DNT. So no showing that one yet. You got a mess in there.
Cool.
But thank you. It was quick just to show you guys how it looks. So thank you for bringing me and to the other side of the world.
Yep. Yeah, it's so nice to have some people come in from across the pond. We all have a different experience, I guess, depending on what's available where we are and what the philosophies are. And I love hearing about it.
And believe it or not, that's what I'm looking to the other side for me to get my ideas from.
Yeah.
Because in US, everybody's following the same pattern. Nobody's being creative. I mean, that's my point of view. Nobody's being creative. Every tank looks the same.
Yeah.
That's my you know what I mean. So.
Oh yeah. Yep. You always have to look for new ideas. That's the thing. And I just try not to be too weird because I do get some weird ideas about what to do. And most of the time I'm faced with physics. Physics and engineering will stop me from doing a lot of the things I want to do. But anyway, nice. Well, it looks good, Hector. Your tanks always look so nice, and I think I've said this before. I don't know how you could improve them, and yet somehow.
Yeah, I come up with my brain's always so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure when you see it next time, it's gonna be like, whoa. So.
Oh, God. Oh, I look forward to that. Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so
Nice.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Alex. Nice meeting you, SPS Reaper.
Yeah, you too.
Bulls Reef.
Yeah.
Good seeing you, Hector.
All right.
Yep. Take
All
care.
right, thank you.
Bye. Cool. Filipino Reefer. I'm sorry. I'm back. Been a busy day. What's up, everyone? I just transferred all my corals and rocks from the 40 breeder to a 40 Nouveau all-in-one. That's the one I have, the 40 Nouveau Fusion Mini Innovative Marine. That's Mollywood, is that tank. Yeah, cool. So anybody want to see the skimmer video from the Aqua Vitro skimmer, which apparently is quite the unicorn out in the real world? Why don't I show you that while I'm thinking about it? Oh, but first, he's turning into a little monkey. Learning to climb the furniture. Yeah. Okay. Skimmer video. Well, I guess it's down here. There we go. Okay, so just to preface this, one of the things in the instructions says that the water height isn't relevant to the operation of the skimmer as long as the pump is at a minimum level that's marked on the side of it. So I filled it up and I thought, well, I'll fill it up to just above the top of the pump and go from there, because that's roughly where it's going to be when I put it in, where I'm going to put it in the sump, which will be probably tomorrow. But that didn't work. And I experienced some stomach churning when it wouldn't stop overflowing, because all I could think of was that hated Bubble Mega skimmer that I had that did nothing but overflow ever, no matter what I did with it. Shallow water, deep water, everything in between. It just never stopped. So I was getting a little concerned that this one was going to have to go back to the store. So there's a day or so ahead of this video, and this video I took this morning when I walked in the room, because this is the longest period of time overnight that it's actually stayed the way I set it before I went to bed. So here it is. There's the Aqua Vitro Division 500. Set it up in my utility sink here, and working the way it should. Of course, it's not pulling any skimmate because there's nothing in this water. Water level eventually ended up being, you can see it's just at the third vein from the top on this pump, those sort of fins sticking out, roughly halfway between the minimum line and the top. And it took me a while to get to this point. It was actually my husband who suggested draining some water out. This thing is noisy. I don't know if that's something that will disappear eventually. I'm just glad it's downstairs, because then I won't be hearing it all the time. But so far so good. We'll see how she goes. Gonna put it in the tank, I think, tomorrow. Yeah, so there's the skimmer. It's running. I don't know what it's going to be like when it actually goes into the organics laden water of the sump downstairs. It is the sump, even though it's a fully running system right now. And so we'll see. I'll be doing a video about it. I'll include some of the frustrations I ran into. And the main thing I learned from that is that, like I said, even though the instructions kind of imply that it doesn't matter how deep it is, it does matter, unless you want wet skim. Like I'm talking really wet skim that fills up the cup in seconds and overflows. So the outside of the thing's really clean now. Because of that, I put it in a little bit of vinegar, maybe a cup, in about 5 gallons of water. And today is the third day it's been running. So I feel like I'm hoping that it's broken in. So yeah, hey Sharbuckles Reef. Oh, Benny. Oh, looks great, but scared to check par. Yeah, that's one of those things. So that, I keep looking at Cue Ball's tank there with that shimmer. That's pretty amazing. I don't know if I've got any other pictures I can show you guys updating what has been going on. I showed you this one. Yep, the light's getting partially hung, and I'm just waiting for more hanging kits. And that's pretty much it. The cloudy water kind of threw me. So I'm thinking it is a bacterial bloom. That was in the Sump video that I showed you a little while ago. It is much less cloudy today than it was a couple days ago. And I'm hoping that's because the UV sterilizer is making a difference. So give it another 24 hours. That's why I wanted to wait to put the skimmer in and see whether it clears up a little bit more yet. So yeah, so anybody got any questions for Cue Balls or SPS or Alex? What time is it? Ah, it's almost 3 o'clock already. Holy smokes, we've been going for almost 2 hours. This is amazing.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, it's true. Very true. I don't know if you can hear the hammering. My neighbors out back are building their deck on the sea of mud that's not been finished grading yet. So we don't know when we're going to get grass outside, but hopefully it'll be fairly soon. I guess we have to wait until there's actually some grass growing somewhere that they can cut for sod. I will be very happy when I can set foot off my driveway, because right now it's just mud everywhere. I wonder if I missed any comments. So if anybody wants to come in, join the crowd here. I'm happy to catch the stream. Oh, Sharbuckle. Happy to catch the stream. It's been too long. Here's a question for everyone. What's your dream fish? That's a really good question. Everybody wants to start maybe dropping some answers in if you feel like it. So ReefGrrl, you're going to get a lot of natural sunlight. Looks to be next to windows. Yes. That window faces west-northwest. So it does get sun late in the day now because there is a porch roof outside there. And probably for, I want to say, a couple of hours. But I do have blinds on those windows. So if it looks like it's causing a problem, like if I start getting an algae film developing along that panel of the tank, then I'll just reduce the amount of light that comes in through the day. I'll leave them open until the sun gets around this side of the house, and then I'll just close the shutters. So I'm hoping that it won't be a problem, because I kind of like how natural sunlight looks hitting a tank. And I'm planning on putting coral over there that has some movement to it. Maybe my toadstool leathers, couple Euphilia, just so that it's something that can sort of catch the light and be interesting. So we'll see. My dream fish. Yeah, my tanks have a lot of natural light. I believe it helps with growth rate. Yeah, I think if you can manage it properly, as in, I guess make sure that algae doesn't become a problem on that side of the tank, just because you can't control that spectrum. When we have the reef lights over top of our reef tanks, we can control the spectrum on most of them, or we buy them because of the spectrum. But when it comes to sunlight coming in, it's going to be a completely different situation. So yeah, yeah, I do use the glass scraper more frequently. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. My dream fish would be a fish I love a lot is the pink-tailed trigger. I'm really hoping to be able to have one, but jury is still out. My dream fish would probably be a unicorn tang. And I know I will never have a big enough tank to house a unicorn tang properly. And even though I know that in captivity they really don't reach their full natural size for all kinds of reasons, I still would be concerned about having a fish that's not going to have enough space to act naturally. So if I had a 30,000 gallon tank, oh yeah, I'd be getting a school of unicorn tanks. But right now, my sort of goal fish is a pink-tailed trigger. I think they're beautiful, they're interesting, and whether or not I can have one. I'm going to do more research, see if I can find more people with personal experience of them. I've seen a few in videos on YouTube, and I've always asked about them. Reports have generally been good. So we'll see. Emperor Angel, JV Gwaltney, but I can never have one. Yeah, that's probably the definition of dream fish, is a fish that you would love, but no, you can't have. Oh, Sharbuckle's got to run out for some milk. Hop on after. Cool. Yeah.
I think my dream fish is the Moorish idol.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to have one of those just kind of gliding around in the tank.
Yeah. Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, everybody says they're really difficult to keep, but that's part of the hobby, I think.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's a calculated risk with some of these fish, where if you go by people's experiences, you can't just ignore people that have bad experiences and hope that you only have the good experiences, because there's a 50-50 chance it's not going to work out. Oh, but they love to eat coral. Oh, what's that, the Moorish idol or the Emperor Angel? Oh, wait a minute. Beauty fish. My friend just gave away a pair of Moorish today, but they love to eat coral. Oh, okay. Well then. I like that. Is that a Hadoni anemone
Yep.
you've got there?
Yeah, this is my nano tank.
Wow. That's a big anemone. Are you planning on moving it into the bigger tank at some point, or are you just going to let it take over?
Yeah, I'm kind of getting close to that point. My only concern is he is just a bulldozer, and this rockscape has changed about 20 times in the past 6 months because he goes where he wants and just kind of bulldozes. That's why I have all the coral up high, so he can't really get to it. But yeah, he just kind of mows around everything, and it kind of makes me nervous about putting him down in the big tank because I have coral all over. So
yeah, that flame, was that a Coral Beauty Angel that you have? That thing got pretty darn close to the NEM there.
He's actually been in the NEM before.
Really?
And was not affected whatsoever, which scared me. That's my wife picked out that fish. She just loved the colors, and
yep.
But yeah, the Coral Beauty and the Clarkie, that's Griswold the Clarkie. They hang out together, and I've seen the Coral Beauty in the NEM before, and hasn't really been. He doesn't stay, but yeah, he doesn't really seem too bothered by it.
Yeah, because I've read those things are really sticky.
Yeah, and they hurt when you get stung.
Oh.
Because I was cleaning in here one day, and I didn't even realize that he kind of latched onto the underside of my wrist.
Ooh.
And yeah, I won't tell you how I got rid of the pain, but
wow.
It has something similar to do with what you do if you get stung by a jellyfish.
Oh, I understand. Yeah. Neutralize the acid.
Yes.
Whoa. Well, that's good to know. I mean, that's another reason for me to avoid anemones in my tank, because I'm not keen on getting hurt by my stuff.
There's my blue hippo back there. He's fully recovered from his mishap, and I'm just waiting to put him back in the big tank downstairs till he gets a little bit bigger so that he can defend himself.
Yeah. I remember when I got Pamela the Tomini Tang, she was the size of a quarter, literally tiny. And she took refuge under a really low-hanging rock on one side of the tank. And I was getting pebbles and wrapping nori around them, soaking them with Celcon, because she was pretty torn up. I really wasn't sure she would survive. And that was after like overnight in the tank, literally. So I found where she was hiding. I would put this rock with nori right at the entrance to the little overhang so she could eat without having to venture out. And eventually she grew and got bigger and bigger, and she ended up being the jerk. And she's harassing the clownfish constantly and getting into it with the fox face. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. So I have a Tomini Tang now in that 150. And I saw him yesterday, and he's absolutely fine, because I did have a bit of a concern that the cloudiness in the water was due to ammonia, that maybe he had passed away and I didn't find him. But I've seen him every day, and haven't looked today yet because I haven't had time, but he's very shy. So I don't know. I don't know if he'll become a jerk when he finally graduates to the big tank, but we'll see, I guess. I guess once I move the clownfish in from Mollywood, along with their multiple hairy mushrooms that they live in now, I guess I'll find out how that fish is going to behave. So Alex is working away. He's got a tape measure.
Alex looks like he's working on Mars.
Yeah. Are you cutting PVC, Alex?
Yeah. While I was kind of taking a break there for a second and take the dogs out, I started my run a 2-inch for the 400, which you could possibly see the end of it down there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Way down there.
So I'm just starting to get. I have to do my gravity feed for the skimmer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to plumb this end first, and then once it's all roughed in, I'll glue this side of it up, and then I'll start working the other end of it. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun day.
Feels like baby steps, but by the time you're done, it's such a big project. All those little baby steps add up to something major.
Yeah, it's gonna look pretty funky over here once all the points. Because there'll be this likely is going to be broken out into probably several 2-inch or well, maybe I'll do a 4. I don't know. I haven't decided yet how I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So because this will be from the main display, so it's actually gonna jump up to be on top, and then the drains will come in back here, and then some of it's gonna have to come into this eventually too. So. Yeah.
So the only thing you have so far that's not going to be hooked into one system is the 90 that's going to receive new fish.
Yeah, the 90 that one will be standalone. So everybody new coming is going to go through there. Maybe not immediately because I won't have the tank set up.
Mm-hmm.
I might get a few things first just to get this fish room up and running a bit. But once things start to get a little bit more further along, then yeah, everything new is going to get dumped in that tank for a month first.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that'll be good. It'll hold me to my 1 month between fish ads.
Yeah. That's the thing. It seems like a good amount of time to figure out if something bad is going to happen.
Exactly.
And how is the holding tank doing?
It's not too bad actually. Ooh, now that you said something, I gotta get some top off water for it today. The hair algae is somewhat subsided a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's not doing too bad. It's just I'll be honest, I try not to look in here very often. I just top it off and feed them, and
yeah,
I try not to get too into it because then I'll start poking at things, and it's just not good. Some things are doing great, some of them they're just doing okay, and that's just the way it's got to be right now.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You don't want to get tempted into starting something that you can't finish. And I have the same problem with the holding tank where everything is now. I was moving the rocks around the other day because we took down the 2 Orphec bar lights to bring them here to get them hung. And I know that the rest of it's going to get moved shortly. So I felt like the stuff could maybe do with a little bit less light for a little while, but I'm starting to notice problems even after only a few days. And so I got in there and I tried to remove a bunch of algae from one side of one of the rock pillars that were at the back. And it's all on there really, really solid. So I feel like, well, I guess I'll just yank it out of there and bring it here and put it in the 150 and let the Tang go for it. Because when I had those fish before, the herbivores, the Tang and the foxface, there was no algae in that tank. They just were constantly working. So we'll see. That's kind of colored my my sort of time frame, aside from turning that room back over to my daughter and her husband, because it's all fish room right now. I really do have to get moving forward with this because when my tank comes, I'll be busy with a whole different set of things going on. And I really would rather have everything under this roof now, like sooner, so that I'm not having to also run back and forth. So it's really hard, but it's hard to resist when you see a problem to go in there and do something about it, because sometimes you run out of time and then you're stuck.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. See that now I'm in my auto routine. I got to grab water and do an alk test here so I can dose more than likely here with the top off, because things are settled to where it's consuming. And
okay.
That's where I'm like, I'm not touching it. I'm not poking it with a stick. I'm just just leave it alone. 1 second, I grab my 4 mils of water.
Okay. Yeah, and then I'm going to make you full screen and excuse myself for a minute. I heard somebody on the front porch. I don't know if there's a delivery there. All right, Alex, you're on stage.
Wonderful.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, everybody gets to see me do an alk test, so hopefully nobody wants to complain about my titration skills. All right, let's see if I can set this up here. It's a little higher than normal.
You need an auto stirrer.
Yeah, I got one. There we go. Right around 40, just around 45. So actually pretty stable today. Which I think that's 8.3 to 8.6 on the Salford, if I'm remembering right. So yeah, it's sad when you know where your thumb is supposed to be on the plunger, and that's how you know if your alkalinity is at the right level or not. That's how far I've gotten with these tests. But yeah, so it looks like it's right where it should be today. So I am not going to add anything on top off water. Bottle back.
Okay. You know what you were saying about the thumb? I totally get that. Back when I was having all the crashes and I was testing daily, multiple things, I know, and you don't even have to finish the test because you know where it's headed.
Yeah, if my thumb's not compressed enough, I usually will know if I'll be going, well, it's definitely low, and then on the same token, if it goes the other way and it's high. So
yeah,
today it was right where it should be, so that's good. I dosed a little bit more than I was dosing 12 mils instead of 10, so looks like that little extra boosted it up to where I need it to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'd love to get in the habit of daily alk testing. I'm just going to have to do it. You know, as soon as I'm done breakfast, go downstairs, test the elk. Oh, hey, Arthur Coelho from Spain. Nice to see you.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Well, it will be nice once I get the main system running, because I don't think I'll have to dose for a while once I go from this 150 gallons to like 1,000 gallons of fresh salt water.
Yeah.
So, and now with actually, it'll be more than that. It'll be closer to the full mark because I got those 500 gallons of water storage too.
Yep.
So
now I forget, what kind of salt are you using these days? Oh, you're frozen. You're in that dead zone in your basement.
my bad.
In the corner. I heard you. Oh, there you go. There we are.
Oh, lost my Wi-Fi. That's weird.
Hmm. And what
So,
salt are you using? I forget now.
Tropic Baron Pro.
So yeah, so it mixes up like low 7-ish.
Yeah, I got a couple bags of my reef crystals I stopped using that were mixing up at like 12 or 13.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
I'll dump that into this. It's not going to hurt anything. Not at this size.
No.
So I figure before I add salt though, once the 400 and the water storage, I did it again.
Oh, but just briefly. Oh, we did.
Am I
think
back?
we lost. You're back. We've lost SPS Reefer. If SPS Reefer, Ryan, if you lost your juice or if your batteries run down, thanks for coming in. It was great to see what you have. And oh, there you are.
Okay, my screen's frozen, so I just see myself and everyone else frozen. You still hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. I'm moving.
Okay. Now let the pop in.
Let's see. Made you full screen. Can you see us now?
No.
Oh, there's cue balls.
So I'll just talk to it here. Once everything's filled with RODI water, I'll let it run for a couple of weeks. I do have the UV sterilizer online now, so I was also having a little cloudiness, and I'm sure it's bacteria in part just growing in here.
Mm-hmm.
But once it's going for a couple of weeks and I have the 400 up for a couple of weeks, I'm going to get an ICP test done on the fresh water. And then as soon as it comes back, if it comes back clean with no metals or anything really concerning, I'll go ahead and I'll start adding salt, which I figure is going to take me a couple of days to do. It just can't really do it fast. And I'll probably just take the buckets and cut a little hole in one and make like almost like a little hourglass funnel for it to just slowly drip into some high water flow.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. I just can't see you.
Oh, okay. Here, let's do this full screen.
I think it's on my end. The browser's just messed up. I'll step out and come back in a bit.
Okay.
But no, I mean, it's my main thing is I just want to make sure there's nothing in here that's going to be a surprise. So just draining the salt water would not be a financially sound decision.
No, not at that level.
But the RODI water, I could live with that, because the nice thing is if there is something in here, the RODI should absorb it pretty well. And I'll probably throw a couple big bags of carbon in here too before the week is out. So that way too, I could just proactively absorb anything that's floating around. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, fingers crossed, in another 2-3 weeks here, I'll be at the point where we're ready to add salt.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Very cool. And I realized I haven't done an actual water change on the 265 gallons that I've got going on right now down in the sump, because I did the cycle and it went really quick. I used, oh geez, I can't remember. Whatever the Brightwell XLM, the Brightwell bacteria, XM start, XL start, I'm not sure. And so it cycled pretty quickly when you consider the parameters like the ammonia, nitrite, nitrate. So I never ever did a water change because I never got high nitrates. I had such low nutrients. I was concerned about bringing stuff over because the nutrients were low over there, but higher than here. And the corals weren't liking it. And I didn't want to make it worse. So I dosed phosphate and nitrate until I got them up to a level that was acceptable. 0.09 is the phosphate now, and the nitrate is 5. And so I brought the stuff over. So all through that whole period of time, there was no real need, I felt, to do a water change, because usually the reason you do the water change on completion of the cycle is to drop the nitrates down because they shoot up. And they never did. So I haven't done one, and I have the cloudy water, got the UV going. So I did prepare some salt water, and I might just do a water change later tonight out of that 100-gallon tank. We used it as part of testing the sump because, of course, we filled it up with fresh water and made sure everything wasn't leaking and all that kind of stuff. But we haven't actually done anything with it when it comes to the salt water. And I get to use the tool that my husband made for me to turn the valve to divert the water from the 150 over to the return chamber to isolate that first 100. So I have to make sure I get that on video, because it might be interesting to you guys if you haven't already run across it. We started out with a couple of sticks on that handle, kind of tie wrapped to it so that I could at least maneuver it. But he did some looking around and came up with a really interesting tool made out of PVC. So we will see how that works. That'll be fun, maybe tonight.
So what are you using to supplement for like trace elements if you're not doing water changes?
Right now, nothing, because there's not enough in the system to really use up much. I do have some corals in there. I have a few more, I think, than these pictures show. Let me see. This picture. No, actually, that's right up to date. That's what I have in there right now. So there's nothing that consumes a whole lot. Oh, we lost Alex. So I haven't started the trace elements yet. When I do, it'll probably be Coral Essentials, because that's what I've been using for a couple of years now. And I feel like it's got the advantage of being really easy to dose. It's just a couple drops a day or every other day. And it really seemed to make a difference. So I just have to put it in order because I can't get it here. I can't get it from the US. I have to get it from Australia directly. So that's
something that I'm struggling with right now, because my nutrients are staying low. Like I tested while we were chatting here, my phosphate is 0.02 and my nitrate is 2.5. So I'm, my ratio is there, but I just did a water change yesterday, so I'm sure it brought it down a little bit, but in theory, I could get away with not doing any water changes on this tank because my nutrients are staying low. I'm seeing a little bit of algae here and there, but I have cleanup crew and tangs, and they kind of take care of it and keep it at bay. So it's like, why am I doing water changes? But then I'm thinking to myself, I'm not supplementing trace elements, so that's the only reason I'm doing water changes.
Well, I feel like trace elements are one of those things that, like any dosing, once your growth starts to consume them, then you need to replace them. So if you look at your tank overall and you start seeing signs that the growth's not happening, for example, if you test alkalinity and the uptake is slowing down, or if it's staying the same, then you'll know that maybe growth isn't happening. This is the way I think. I could be wrong about this. So that might be the point at which it's worth checking into the trace elements. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I haven't had enough experience with dealing specifically with trace elements because, of course, until the Red Sea, I had nanos, and all I ever did was deal with the requirements with water changes, right? Because 29 gallons of water, you just do a 3 or 5 gallon water change, and you can keep up with it. But when I got the Red Sea tank was when I had to start looking into all this other stuff. So I don't know, for large volumes, like Alex would probably have better insight into it. Oh, hey, JB Aquatics, welcome.
Yeah, I started messing around with them a little bit, and it's really going to come down to, like, I've talked to some friends that have coral farms and stuff, and some of them are starting to look more at the trace elements because they are seeing good results.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes down to is it part of it is how expensive is it to do water changes versus buying trace elements. So,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm probably looking at it going, even talking to some people, it's certain trace elements, you might want to just go ahead and get them. Some of them could get a little pricey, but I'll see. It also takes, you're going to have to do ICP testing to see where stuff's at, because there's just no way to test it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the B Ionic, the 2-part that I use, their claim is that they replace the trace elements, so I've been relying on that. But I haven't done it on
That's some good stuff you got there. So
it's getting harder to find.
Yeah, I hate to say, I don't know if that stuff's going to go through the Suez Canal, but it does.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
We might not get it for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I was using the balling light method, and with that one, when you mix up your solutions, you add from little bottles of trace ABC. And the only one that doesn't have anything added is the magnesium. The calcium and alkalinity each have some of this extra stuff added that is trace elements. But the only thing is, I understand dosing according to consumption. I get that. And to me, calcium is the one where that makes a difference. Alkalinity, there's a range that you keep it in to make everything healthy and to be bioavailable to the calcium. So that works, plus your magnesium. So I always kept a really close eye on the calcium because I didn't want to get behind. But then what happens is the alkalinity, because of the growth that's going on, you have to increase it. So are the trace elements in the alkalinity compensating at the same rate as the trace elements in the calcium is the question. Like, if they're all supposed to be in balance, I never once dosed identical amounts of those 2 parts ever, even though apparently you're supposed to. If I did that, one or the other would get way out of whack. So I always tested and dosed accordingly. So when it comes to the trace elements, who knows where that was, right?
Yeah, I was in the same boat.
Generally with the B Ionic, I always tried to add them equally if I could. But yeah, I know I had a few times where my calcium, my last system, the calcium, until I had a reactor going, the calcium was at like 500, and I just didn't matter what I did, it just wouldn't drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that same problem with the B Ionic. With my old tank, the 72 gallon, I was dosing like 2 to 1 alkalinity to calcium.
That sounds right.
I didn't have a lot of stony corals in there, but I did have some, and I was getting good growth. But my alkalinity, it seemed like I was always tweaking the alkalinity more, and the calcium would stay pretty stable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ATF says continuum, Brightwell, Kent, or Red Sea. Probably doesn't make a difference. Trace elements. The corals take up extremely small amounts, hence trace. Yep, definitely. And we get evaporation and salts that get extracted in the salt creep, which also drips onto the trace elements ions as well. Grips onto? Does that, Alan, is it that you're saying that the trace elements get bound up in the salt creep, maybe? Yeah, 'cause I was thinking about that the other day, about the salt creep. I mean, you put it in your tank in the mix that you put in. So I don't know why you couldn't collect it, dissolve it so it's not so so it doesn't cause a problem and burn anything. Dissolve it in tank water and then just pour it back in. I don't know if it would affect the salinity extremely or whether you'd actually be adding back the trace elements that are ionic like that. You know, like I've thought about that.
I think you'd have to test it to really understand that. My concern always with that would be is where I tend to have salt creep that's heavy on tops of tanks is also an area where things like dust will accumulate.
True.
So
Yep.
I'd almost feel that if it did have a value like that, that you'd have to filter it just to get that
Somehow.
stuff out of it first. Just, you know, might not be enough to hurt anything, but
well, cumulatively, you just don't know. And it depends, like, there's weird stuff in dust. So
Yeah.
you just don't know what's in it. And I'm thinking more of things like in the Red Sea tank, the return hose came from the left-hand side and went all the way over to the right-hand side and then up into the tank. And that thing got enormous amounts of salt creep on it, especially when that stupid skimmer was spraying everywhere. So that would be the kind of spot where I'd be tempted to sort of put a cup underneath it and just kind of slide it along and collect it. But I have no idea if that would be like a bad idea. You know, would I crash my tank if I did it? I mean, I have enough ways of crashing tanks without adding something like that to it. You know, the whole seemed like a good idea at the time thing, right? Says if you remove salt creep, ATO replacement will slowly reduce the salinity. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why you have to test. You really do have to check the salinity, even if it's only once a month, because it is gradual. I always check salinity. Oh, here's a question. Cindy, how does the Vecton 200 V2 perform for you? Are you happy with it? I just bought mine. I loved it on the Red Sea tank. It was rated for maximum 100 gallons at level 1. If I wanted level 2, I would have had to plummet in line with my return, and I didn't want to do that. So at level 1 in the Red Sea tank, I felt like it worked really, really well. It was reliable. It's a pain in the neck to take the cover off because there's 3 little screws that are recessed, and it's very, very hard to get them out. It was always a matter of getting like a piece of tape and wrapping it around a pencil to get hold of them because you can't reach in and get them. I have small fingers. I couldn't even reach in and get them. There are a couple things you need to be careful about when it comes to disassembling and reassembling, mainly that the gaskets are on correctly so that there are no leaks once you've tightened everything down. And what else can I say? We run ours with a Lifeguard quiet one. It's a small pump, but it has around, I think, 230 gallons per hour of flow. That's kind of the rating on the box. So I know that right now it's probably running slower than it was in the Red Sea tank because right now I have probably 5 feet of hose going to it. So whereas before there was maybe a foot of hose going through it. So that's kind of why I'm hoping it will get better dwell time inside the unit because the water's traveling slower and hopefully help with the cloudy water, even though it's undersized for what I have right now. But I was happy with it. I ran that thing for over 3 years and didn't have any problems with it. Changed the bulb out once. I still do have an extra bulb because I bought 2 when I bought the replacement when I wanted to change it out. I didn't notice a decrease in performance, but because the lifetime of the bulbs is rated for something like 8 months to a year, something like that, and it was 18 months had gone by the time I changed the bulb, I just felt like it was the right thing to do. So I guess short answer, you never get a short answer from me, do you? Sorry. Yeah, so I liked it very much. So I hope yours goes well. It did great in ours. We plumbed it so that it drew water from, it was in the sump, drew water from the return chamber, and redeposited it in the same place that the pipes came down from above. So just before the overflow. Yeah. Sally Ostling, stop by from YouTube recommendations. Ah, thanks. That's great. You're having a great reef day. That's awesome. Yeah, I was saying before, there's something about Sundays. There's like a sort of calm vibe. I have a Sichi Silent, and I didn't plumb it directly to the return. I have a 90-gallon tank. Yeah, you should. It should work well, I would imagine, for you. And yeah, mine's plumbed the same way. Yeah, cool. Yep, I have nothing bad to say about it except for those darn screws. Whenever we had to take that cover off, we always had to get a towel, clamp it over the whole return or whole sump area with clothespins in case the screw fell down, and hope that the screw did not fall down behind the sump between the glass and the cabinet. We never had any disasters, but the potential was there. So cue balls, you're using B-ionic and looking at some sort of trace elements, and like, have you done an ICP test?
Not on the new tank, no, not yet. It's only been running since November, so I'm kind of letting it do its thing.
Yeah.
I think about water changes and why I'm still doing them. You know, if my nutrients are on the lower side, and I'm not breaking out in algae everywhere, and I'm still trying to let the tank find its groove. It's only 4 months into the tank, so
right.
I'm trying not to get too crazy. I don't like dosing to begin with. Obviously, the main elements you have to really kind of consider, but I prefer the more natural approach. You see on forums and stuff all the time. Everybody wants a magic elixir to fix everything, and I try and stick with the more natural approach. And
Alex's thumb isn't working.
What, you can't buy a magic bottle that just makes it work?
Besides citric acid for cleaning, I don't think there's any magic elixirs out there.
No. And we talk about this a lot. It's confusing. And it took me a long time, probably a year or more, of buying everything I saw that people were using and having good results before I understood that essentially the various types of products do the same thing. So you're overloading your tank with stuff that's all doing the same thing. It's not made very obvious. So if they disclosed ingredients, you'd be able to tell what you're actually doing. Not all of them do disclose ingredients, and so I tend not to buy those anymore because I want to know what's in it so that I can make sure I'm not overdosing one specific thing because I'm using another product. And that took me a long time to learn.
I don't think they ever tell you what's in the snake oil.
Nope.
Go to McDonald's, get some secret sauce.
Yeah.
Please don't actually do that.
Marcus's Reef, Alex, he says, sitting here dreading going in the crawl. Alex is always super focused and busy, making me look bad, LOL.
Sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Peter, yeah, you can buy All for Reef. It says it all on the bottle. Yeah, I've used All for Reef on Mollywood, and I loved it. It worked great. I used Polyp Lab 1 for a while, only because I had some, and I don't mind dosing magnesium separately. And what I found was that stuff is potent, and if you're not really careful with the quantities that you use and go slow and test frequently, you can really jack up the elements very quickly without even realizing it. But the All for Reef, I was dosing, I think, 3 mils a day into Mollywood, and it lasted months and months and months. I think it's almost gone now. In fact, I should probably check. I have it on the app for that for the Camor Dripping Pro. It tells me how much should be left, and I haven't looked at it recently. But that All for Reef is a good product. It's just a shame we can't, like, we seem to have such trouble getting Tropic Marin products here. Yeah. What else have I got to show you? I don't think I've got anything else new to report. I've revealed as much as I'm comfortable revealing with what's been going on. So
you can't give away the farm, then nobody will watch your videos.
That's right. That's right. Oh, I showed you my canopy for my lights and some lights there, but that's not anything near what the finished product is going to look like. So yeah, it's going to be kind of fun. Going to take a while. Weeping Willow. Oh, Alan, going to make up more bright neon green Japanese. I think you mean Weeping Willow and the Indo Weeping Willow frags. Yeah, I almost feel like Weeping Willow is becoming generic.
Great. That's why I just bought some.
Yeah.
I'm behind the times, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, by the time I find this stuff, it's too late. Everybody has it.
Well, then the price will come down at least.
Yeah, hopefully. I do like toadstools, though. I think they're very attractive until they start falling apart and fragging themselves.
That's the one thing with this tank. I'm trying to figure out what I want it to be. And like the left side of the tank, I have mostly softies and all the flowy stuff.
Yeah.
And then on the right side, I've got some chalices and some acros and stuff like that. And then in the middle is the anemone. And it's like, well, what do I want this tank to be? It's hard.
It is hard. And a mixed reef is always so challenging because of all of the parameters you have to solve. You know, everything needs something a little different. So it's always a compromise. And eventually what I've found is some things just don't survive. And, you know,
it is kind of a balance that I'm trying to find right now. Cause like I can tell you when my phosphate starts going up because certain corals will start shrinking back, but my acros will start coloring up a little bit and vice versa. And it's like, where is the magic line?
Yeah. And it's different for every tank, and which is why you are given a range, because eventually your tank finds the point in the range where it does best, or to our estimation, or what we can observe is doing best. And that means something different for everybody. So I think that's one of the things about this hobby that's so challenging. There really are very few absolutes.
That's why you have to have multiple tanks, I guess.
Exactly.
Because that nano tank I have upstairs, I haven't tested the levels on that in almost a year.
Wow.
I haven't done a water change in probably 6 months. But the trick is it's all softies. So
yeah. As long as you swap out your carbon regularly.
I don't even have carbon in there.
Is that right? Well, I guess maybe it doesn't matter as much if they're all softies and there's nothing that's trying to that can't handle what they put out.
Right.
Marcus's Reef. So has Alex said how big his tank is going to be yet? No.
Does that mean I'm supposed to try and answer that?
No, you don't have to. You don't spoil the surprise. I just love the idea of people walking down into your basement and walking over to the 90 and going, oh my God, look at this tank. It's beautiful. and then turning around and seeing the rest of it in the room.
Well, they'll see the glow as they go down the stairs, and it's going to be more of a what, you know. There will be some surprises, I think.
What is wrong with you?
Well, I'm sure the second thing is going to be is what is the filtration system? Like, it's going to be, what's the sump look like under this? And then I'm going to flip open a thing and be like, there isn't one. So sump.
But I mean, a lot of people, well, I don't know, maybe the people that come to your house would understand that it does require filtration. Most of the people that see mine would just look at it and wouldn't even think of that until I say, you want to go downstairs and see the rest of it? Marcus is joking. He's being a bit stingy with the info. No, I understand.
I'll tell you what, when I get started on it, I have an evil plan. So probably going to make a lot of people say that's just not fair. So
cool.
But yeah, I'll figure something out with it to showcase it when I can.
And you know, so. I was thinking about this the other day. As awful as it's been in the past year, and it's been over a year now with the pandemic. The money that we would have spent on vacations is really coming in handy because we would have traveled. We have a bank account that we contribute to regularly to save up for travel. And we've done some pretty big trips using that method of saving money. And we go about once every 4 or 5 years. So 2021 would have been the year to go. But we're not going anywhere because we still don't know what travel is going to look like. And I get too cranky too fast when I'm traveling if things don't go well anyway. Just put a mask on me and watch what happens. It's going to be a million times worse. So I'd much rather just stay home where I can avoid that kind of problem, you know. And we both have things that we can put the money to use. And we're not getting any younger. So if we don't go probably in the next 5, 6, 7 years, then we probably won't want to travel when we're in our 70s, because all kinds of other considerations come into play. So, you know, I guess it's been a benefit to reef keepers as long as, you know, you've got the income and everything still steady and all of that is going well. Marcus, I would hold out too if I were him. And people make me cranky too. Yeah. Oh, ATF in the house. Hey, what's good for dino in an anemone tank? Oh, I wonder if you would treat it the same way as a tank with corals in it. Marcus, I'm sure all my neighbors wonder why my windows are always glowing blue. Yeah. Yeah, Alan, I've only ever had the dinos once. I didn't know what they were. I had an idea, but there was no way to confirm it. And this was kind of before YouTube was a real thing where you could go and get so much information. Like nowadays, you'd have 20 videos to choose from. So I just removed it manually with a turkey baster, and anything that was on the sand, I took out with a gravel vac. And then some of the sand would get drawn up, and I would rinse it in tank water and then put the sand back. But in the meantime, I was getting the gunky stuff out of there. And I did this every night as much as I could for about 3 months. And eventually they didn't come back. Of course, I do it differently now because back then I didn't know to check for nutrient levels and see what, you know, if that was a contributor. So in an anemone tank, I don't honestly know if it would make a difference or not.
I kind of took the same approach with my nano. I had what I believe to be dinos. I didn't confirm it with a microscope, but it had all the characteristics, we'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And it was only in my sand bed, and it would disappear at night and come back in the morning, and, you know, all the characteristics. And all I did really was siphon the sand bed into a sock, usually 2 or 3 times a week. And the UV sterilizer, I got one of those little green killing machines. It was like $50.
Yep.
And introduced that into the tank, and just, it's gone now. It's been gone for about a month, but I really didn't do anything super special.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, Alan, if that would help with the anemone tank, especially if you can get some of it into the water column so that it could be drawn into a UV sterilizer of some type. There's all kinds of them now on the market. I even have a little submersible one that's about 10 inches tall, and it's meant to be a filter, but at the same time, it's got a UV bulb in it. And you just put it in the tank and it just works away. And when I had Mollywood, when I was breeding mollies, and I had a breeder tank before I had Mollywood, actually, for some reason, the 20-gallon long that I had them in was always cloudy. And it could have something to do with very, very little rock in there. I don't know. But I put one of those small sterilizers in there, and it just cleared it up immediately. So if you can get the stuff into the water column, it has a chance to go through the sterilizer. And I have heard elsewhere about UV sterilizers being helpful. I don't know if it's 100% eradication solution, but as part of a treatment solution, it probably would help. Dr. Tim's waste away and other bacteria additives to outcompete. UV, good idea, mostly on rocks. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if in that situation, I'd go the manual route and sort of the mechanical route before the chemical route, and then just see. And I mean, you could always send away a sample to Fish of Hex, because he's got little kits that he sends out with a prepaid return envelope, I think, as part of the cost. I shouldn't say that because I don't know for sure. You put a sample of the dino or whatever it is you're concerned about into the vial and send it, and he can identify which type of dino it is and give you some advice on how to treat it. So if it's the type that thrives in low nutrient environments, then what you do is raise the nutrients, obviously. If it's the type, I think, that I had that thrives in high nutrient environments, I don't know what the answer is other than to reduce nutrients, but I have a feeling that's a much longer process, maybe more water changes, stuff like that. So I've always had problems with high nutrients in any tank I've ever had until recently. Marcus's Reef. I tried everything but a UV. What worked for me was elevating nutrients and did a 3-day blackout. Nature took its course. Yeah, there's another one that doesn't involve having to use chemicals of any type.
I wonder how rough that would be on an anemone for a 3-day blackout.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't kept them. Alex?
Yeah, if it was bad, that might work. But I mean, I always go back to the idea of the problem with that is you never know. It might not affect anything, or it might make it very, very unhappy.
And then you'd have 2 anemones.
Or none, or no anemones.
Or no anemones. Or find it in the power head seeking light.
Oh, that would be bad.
Yeah, very bad, especially if you're doing a blackout. You wouldn't even know until...
Yeah. Then you got all sorts of new problems to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. The chain reaction of stuff we try to fix.
I wonder what the science is behind anemone splitting, because I've had this anemone for 2 months now, and he doesn't split. And then I see everybody else; they've got a whole tank full of them.
Is it a bubble tip?
Yeah, it's a rose bubble tip.
Who is it? Was it Lynn? Lynn Reef Nerd has exploding anemones. ATF in the house. Thanks. Good suggestions. Yeah, good question. It just seems like, I know Inappropriate Reefer had a lot of exploding anemones in the sense of splitting all over the place. And there's probably videos out there talking about anemones splitting and what the conditions are for that.
I've seen videos and heard stories, and people talk about every time they did a water change, their anemones would split. And I do a water change on this tank every 2 weeks, and I still have one.
So if you don't,
weird like that, they just won't split.
if you don't do a water change, that'll shock it, and maybe it'll split.
Uh-oh.
Marcus's Reef. There are storms with heavy clouds in the ocean all the time where light levels are very low due to sediment and clouds. Not saying it's the best plan of action, just saying it worked for me. Okay. Yep, the blackout. And ATF in the house. Anemones hate change, flow, especially moving from tank to tank. I have 3 UV filters, nothing small enough to fit in a 20-gallon. Yeah,
you should check out that green killing machine.
Yeah.
I know it's on Amazon. That's where I got mine, but it's literally like 8 or 9 inches long, and it's submersible. You put it right in the tank, and that's what I used on my. It's a 30-gallon, but I just plopped it right in the sump and turned it on and forgot about it actually. But it seemed to help with mine. It took probably 2 or 3 months of me, constantly siphoning stuff out and watching it basically. But I didn't put any chemicals or blackouts or anything like that. I was the cleanup crew, I guess. I just did a lot of manual removal and tried the UV just on a whim.
Yeah, I think the issue for me with chemicals is as soon as you put something in your tank to kill something, there's always going to be implications for what else it might kill that you don't intend for it to happen. And I'm not even talking about fish or coral. It's mainly microfauna. Like you don't know what else it's going to wipe out in the process of wiping out. Like a lot of that stuff is not selective. So if you do the manual route, once you figure out that it's not actually killing your coral, well, unless it's kind of overtaking things like green star polyps, I know it can get in there and it's a problem. But in most cases, if it's not killing your coral, you can take your time and get it out of there, because the main problem with it is it's just ugly. I know it consumes oxygen from the water. That's not good either, but it's one of those things where you have time. You don't need to panic, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I have heard others talk about raising the temperature in your tank also. Obviously, that's very anecdotal, but I know a lot of people have raised the temperature in their tank to like 82 or something. Don't quote me on the numbers, but some people have tried that and it seemed to work for them.
Yeah. Aaron Quinoy says, if it takes 3 months to cause a problem, it'll take 3 months to remedy it. Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, no kidding. JB Aquatics, fluconazole and Vibrant. Ooh. I don't know. I would really have to think carefully before. Fluconazole I've used, but not in combination with anything. And Vibrant I find a little scary with some of the stories of what's happened to people. So not saying I would never use it, just that the circumstances would have to be that it was the only choice. And I would have to be comfortable with the idea that I was taking the risk.
No magic bottle.
Exactly.
Yeah, the one time I did use Vibrant for some hair algae on the tank upstairs, I had a massive cyano outbreak.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It got rid of the hair algae. I mean, it worked wonders for that. But then I had a big outbreak of cyano, which I'll deal with cyano any day of the week. That's easy. But that's the one thing I did notice about Vibrant. Plus, it killed all my Chaeto, which obviously I was expecting. But
yeah,
it works, but with caution.
Yeah. Well, and cyano just comes from excessive nutrients, right? High phosphate.
Typically.
So if you're unprepared to be like, if you're not ready to remove the algae as it dies and try and reduce the nutrient levels in the water, you're more likely to get the cyano. So I guess you can somewhat be ready for it, but the speed at which it happens sometimes is also a problem.
Yeah. That's the thing with experience, in this hobby. It's just a lot of people, they see a speck of dirt that wasn't there yesterday and they're quick to go find a magic bottle of potion to get rid of it, and they're posting online, what is this speck of dirt? And it's like, relax, you'll get there.
Yeah, it's a speck of dirt.
Yeah. There's never a speck of dirt in the ocean. I've never seen one before. So people overreacting. Right now in my frag tank, I've got a Duncan coral that's completely covered in hair algae. If I didn't know, with 3 or 4 years of experience, what was going on there, I'd be all over Facebook posts and Reef to Reef. What is happening?
Yeah, exactly.
Just relax. It's algae.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's with the cloudy water I have going on right now. The first thing you do is panic because you think this early in a cycle, it's been running for about a month now. You think, oh my God, it's ammonia. And I've seen ammonia incidents where the water's been milky white. Not in my personal tanks, but I have seen it happen. Well, no, that's not quite true. We did have one that was milky white. We took a 55-gallon community tank. We took the fish out and put them somewhere else, except for a giant plecostomus that was just too intimidating to try and catch that thing. We cleaned all the gravel. We cleaned the filters. We did a big water change, and we went away for the weekend. And we came back, and it's a good thing. It was a freshwater tank, obviously. It's a good thing my husband liked bubblers in the tank, because that poor plecostomus was hanging out in the corner near the top in that column of bubbles. And I'm sure that's the only thing that kept it alive, because the water was milky white and it was ammonia. Because, of course, what had we done before we left? We took most of the beneficial bacteria out of there, the filtration, cleaned the filter out. And that was early on. We'd been given this fish by a neighbor who couldn't keep it anymore. And we were still learning. And that was quite the learning experience. I felt awful for that poor fish. But I mean, he lived with some Oscars, and we ended up giving him away when he was around 14 inches long to somebody who absolutely loved that kind of fish. So by the time he went to his new home, he was probably, I want to say 13 or 14 years old, because we had him for a long time. But I've seen what that looks like. So when I saw the cloudy water downstairs, I went, oh, I hope this isn't ammonia. I tested. There wasn't any showing. Then I noticed that my little strips that you dip in were expired. Then I went and dug out an API kit that expired in March of 2021. And I thought, okay, it's still March. So I started using that. Didn't show any problems. So I felt pretty sure it's just a bacterial bloom, because of what's going on in that tank, because of adding a fish, because of adding coral. The bacteria are still getting themselves in balance. Anyway.
That's the thing that, experience will teach you. And, if they would sell that in a bottle, I think there'd be a lot more successful tanks.
Yep.
Because everybody just wants to react. Yeah. And a lot of times in this hobby, you just have to kind of sit back and you're working with nature here. Let nature do its thing. Yeah. And, that's my approach to this is, I'm not going to overreact about every little flake of sand and every little, spot of algae. Algae happens in the ocean. Yeah. And with time and experience, you'll learn how to keep it at bay, and keep it from taking over your tank.
Yep. Waterhouse Jason says, I've raised my temp to 82 and dosed hydrogen peroxide for 4 months and it didn't do anything. Still fighting dinos, LOL. Time to get a UV sterilizer. It's worth a try. Yeah, the green killing machine, I have a video on my channel about that. And honestly, it's the number 2 video that gets watched. Number 1 is my 20-gallon nano cycling, 30 days from start to cycled. And number 3 is starfish in the reef tank. But that green killing machine gets unbelievable numbers of views. And basically, I just unbox it, put it in the little tank, and yeah, it's very, very easy to use.
And they sell 2 different wattages, I believe, for various size tanks. So
yeah, I think there's a 9 and an 11.
Yeah, I have the 9 for my 30-gallon tank.
Yeah, I have the 9, and I have used it a number of times in different applications. Just if the water gets a bit murky looking, and it clears it right up. So this is the other thing, the bacteria, you don't know what makes it grow and what kills it. I mean, we know kind of what to feed it. We know there's carbon dosing and things like that, but you don't know what sort of bacteria might proliferate in a specific time frame because of specific conditions. And because I started feeding all of a sudden with having the fish in there and bringing the coral over, I'm sure there was a lot of excess food and nutrients, and whatever kind of bacteria it is just went crazy. So I've cut that right back because there is algae on the rocks I've brought over now. There wasn't before. There's also algae growing all over the inside of the surfaces in the stock tank. And so I've seen the Tomini Tang picking away at that stuff. So I'm just not going to feed for a few days. The nutrients, as long as they stay stable, it's time to check phosphate and nitrate again, make sure it's okay. And just see with the UV whether it actually gets clearer, because it's already improved a bit. So, and you're right, it's experience. It tells you, because this has been going on for a week now. And in the old days, I would have been freaking out within the first 2 days.
Yeah. The other thing we didn't even mention was the source water,
Oh, yeah.
Are they using RODI? Are they using store brand? I mean, that plays a big role in that.
Definitely. That's for sure. Well, I'm, at the time that this happened to me, I was using tap water because that's what I was told to do by the people that gave me this tank I was rescuing. And they said, oh, no, tap water's fine. You just put conditioner in it. And that's what they were told by the LFS. I'm sure because it was easier to make the sale when you didn't have to tell somebody they had to spend another $900 on all this other stuff. Just get the tank out the door and have a hang on back skimmer. Anyway, long story, but in the end, it got me into this hobby. So I'm forever grateful for it.
I've started all my tanks with tap water, so I guess I'm guilty. Even this 180, my first fill was tap water because I didn't want to waste all of the RO going, wastewater. I didn't want to run my water bill up, so I filled with tap water and used Prime and.
Yep. Yeah, you just have to be aware that tap water can contain solids and nutrients that will contribute to nuisance algae. And once you know that and you can manage it, then, you either switch to RODI because you can't manage it, or you make sure you're not overfeeding, or there's a bunch of options that you have. But there is actually a YouTube channel. I think it's called Tap Water Reef Guy or something like that. Has anyone used the purple non-sulfur bacteria? I've never heard of that. So obviously I haven't, unless I've done it unknowingly, which is always possible.
Never heard of it.
No.
Never heard of it.
Must be really new. Yeah, from somebody or other. So what you building, Alex? What's this now?
Oh, I was getting the drain in for my protein skimmer, so it's all I roughed in, and then I need the two of the lines to combine here so I can force water. You know, it's not connected on the other side, so it's a little off, but this will be my gate valve to control how much water is allowed to go into the filter stock tray that I don't ever use, other than for fun. And the other one is the gravity feed to the skimmer.
Right.
So, but I have them combined here. So if the water comes, as the water comes up, if I back pressure this and restrict it, it should force it into here. And this time I've made the lines a lot higher for gravity. So hopefully that will help me maintain a higher water level in the skimmer that I want.
Yeah. So are you sure that this skimmer as it is will run your new system, or are you thinking of modifications? I know you mentioned needle wheels and some other designs. You're adding another pump.
Yeah, so it's got two pumps on it now for research. I am going to probably turbocharge it though, and I'm going to probably get a very large air pump and just add an air pump to directly inject air. I'm not going to run it through a needle wheel or anything. It's just going to be extra air volume getting pushed in.
Right.
And that'll help increase the air pressure coming up here. And then I'm thinking I'm going to do a custom neck cleaner for this that I'm going to design, and that way I could run this skimmer a little harder and hopefully produce some better waste. But
yeah,
if it's not enough, the secondary sump will be large enough to accommodate a second skimmer if needed. So, but I think this will be good. Because it's not all about the skimmer for me. The Refugium's just as big of a part. So
yeah, exactly.
And my Refugium is several orders of magnitude larger than the last one. So
yeah. JB Aquatic says when using Vibrant, it's best to replace socks or floss every day. That way you don't get any other issues after treatment. That way you're removing decaying algae that will cause other issues. Yeah, you know what? That's a really good point. That's a sound way to remove it. I'm saving for a UV. I just want the big boy, like Alex.
I hate to say this is going to be the big one. There will be a second UV on this system. So.
And if you want to see a big UV with multiple tubes, check out Blue Carbon Reefing on YouTube. I think maybe the most recent video, or one of the most recent he's done, even though it's been out for a while, is about his UV. And his UV has its own zip code. He made a stand for it. It's I really enjoyed that video because it was just so mega.
Yeah, my next one will be I'll be adding 150 watt high output next. So.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm working on getting a UV. I'm going to go to the same company that supplied me with the Vecton. And I mean, I'm not expecting them to give me another one by any means, but if they've given you products in the past, they will give you a bit of a price break. So I'm hoping the price break will compensate for shipping and exchange, so that I can at least get it for a reasonable price. Because I really trust them. They've got good products, a lot of knowledge there, and I feel like they could give me good advice for what I need for this particular system, because it's around 600 total gallons. And you know, there's going to be things like where to install it, how to install it, what level, blah, 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 all of that stuff to go through all over again. So I feel like I don't always know the right questions to ask, or I don't know the right information to look up. and I want to make sure I get the correct sizing right off the bat.
Yeah, it's UV is always a fun one to add in. I don't know. I guess my thought on why I'm using it, sizing isn't even. It's not always appropriate. This other one wasn't the right size, but I'm not really using it for parasite control as much as I am other things. So
yeah, and I think it matters more in the commercial applications, like a coral farm or whatever. There's higher stakes in some ways, or even your local municipal water treatment plant. Obviously, they're much higher stakes. They have to operate at that level where they're going to get parasites and pathogens. Whereas us, I see it as a way to enhance sort of my husbandry. Like if there are things in the tank that I see happening and I can take the right actions to get that stuff up in the water column. I even really think if you see an ick outbreak in your tank, the thing to do is to start stirring up the sand, get that stuff up in the water column. And if you have a UV, at least some of it is going to go through the UV and either killed or the DNA gets changed so it can't reproduce. I don't know. It depends on the organism, but that's how I see it. It's supplemental to everything else we do. It's one of the tools in your toolbox. If you know,
yep.
That's how I look at it.
So
not a magic pill.
No. Oh, with that, I gotta run.
Okay.
But, great being on here. Good seeing you, Cindy, and Cue Balls Reef.
Yep.
So
thanks, Alex. Always appreciate the time you spend because I know your time is valuable at the stage you're at right now. So thank you.
No, you're welcome. Everybody have a good afternoon or morning wherever you are, and talk to you next time.
Yep. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, Camaro Kid. Wait a minute. What day is it? What time is it? I'm confused. Well, Camaro Kid, there's a video. I always put out a reminder video. So if you're ever wondering about the stream, it comes out on Friday. I aim to publish at around 10:15 in the morning or 3:15 in the afternoon. So everybody everywhere has lots of time to notice it and check it out. And that will say what's going on for this week's live stream. Having said that, so far it's been Saturdays at 8 p.m. It switched, used to be 9, now it's 8. And once a month, which is today, the 4th Sunday of every month. No, that's not right. The last Sunday of every month will be sort of a global mid-afternoon on a Sunday to try and catch as many time zones as possible where it's not the middle of the night. So that's where we are today, being the last Sunday of the month, and we started at 1. But the replay is always up if you're interested in going back and checking it out. And yeah, it's like after 4. It's been over 3 hours. So this was really fun today. A lot of you guys in here. I really, really appreciated the time everyone has spent, both in the chat and if you're on a replay. Thanks so much for getting this far. Next Saturday, normal service will resume, 8 p.m. Eastern. If anyone wants to leave comments below about the idea of maybe doing Sunday afternoons, kind of in reverse with maybe one Saturday, depending on availability. It always seems like these are well attended, and it could just be that Sunday afternoon's more convenient for people. So I'm good with that if that works for you guys. So I think we'll wrap it up. Camaro Kid, no. I'm not sure what. Not sure what the no is, but
Cindy, I gotta throw in a shameless plug for my channel.
Go for it.
Yeah, check me out on YouTube, Cue Balls Reef.
Yep.
Been putting videos up. I try about once a month to get a different video out. It's more of just a vlog of my adventures.
Nice. And it is spelled just like where you've got your name displayed, all one word with a hyphen after the Q?
That's it.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks, Cue Balls, for coming in here. And as I said, thanks to the chat. We will see you guys next week. Whether it's, well, it'll be Saturday night, 8 p.m. and keep yourselves safe, and everybody have a good week. See you later.